Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome to the show. My name is Alfred Amuzu. This is the Ghana Agenda for December 18th, 2021. Please, if you're watching, give us a thumbs up or send us a message so that we know you are watching. Today we have a packed show. Today we are talking about, again, the budgets of 2022 and where things are going forward. Are we going to see the e-levy pass, etc., etc.? So if you haven't already done so, please share the link so that people who may like this program would also benefit from it. Let me take a quick break so I can set up my audio and video properly. But in the meantime, I'm getting a message that, my guests are getting ready to join the show so we can have this conversation. So 3 things we're talking about today. We're talking about the way forward for the 2022 budget. We've heard so many different things coming from Parliament. We heard Bagbin came back and made his comment. Also, we heard that at the committee level, where the provisions in the appropriation bill itself get discussed. We've heard that in the finance committee that the e-levy bill was not brought for discussion. So a lot of things happen, and we're going to go into the details of all that. Please, if you haven't already done so, share the link so that others can also watch the show and benefit from our discussion. In the meantime, if you have any comments to make on the topics we've tabled for discussion, please send them to me. Topic number 2. So we're discussing the e-levy. That's thing number 1. But topic number 2, it's we heard the president spoke about, COVID in his latest update. And he talked about how when you're traveling to Ghana, anybody traveling to Ghana, especially if you're a Ghanaian citizen and you are not inoculated or you are not vaccinated, that you get your vaccines at the airport. He's also made it clear that anyone traveling to Ghana must have a vaccination card that shows that they have taken either 2 of the Johnson, whatever, whether it's AstraZeneca or Pfizer or etc. And if it is in the case of Johnson & Johnson, that they've taken at least 1 of those single doses. So traveling to Ghana, whether you're going for the Afrochala, which I know a lot of you are interested in. I've seen videos, memes, people saying that no matter what happened, keep Ghana off the no travel list so that people can go and enjoy Christmas this year. I know it's a big deal now. Everybody wants to go to Ghana and celebrate Christmas. There's Afrochella. There are so many interesting things going on in our country, and we want to make sure we do it in a safe manner so that nobody gets infected or we minimize the rate of infection. Of course, we know that there's Omicron and we have to be careful. So going to Ghana, just make sure you are vaccinated and go and enjoy the Christmas with your family and friends in a safe manner. That's what the president says. And then the third thing we want to talk about is the MPP is on the way to Kumasi, or the MPP is gathered in Kumasi for a congress for their towards the election 2024. This is where they go and select their constituency level executives, make changes to their constitution or propose ideas and new things that they would like to implement in the party. So they are doing that this weekend. As we speak, they're in Kumasi. It should be ending or wrapping that up tomorrow. And this is just part of the activities that will lead to them actually going back to select their leaders for the next elections. We are looking up to what is going on in Kumasi, and when the MPP communicators come on the show, I would ask them what exactly is going on, how many proposals we expect to pass, which of them are of interest that they would like to discuss with us. In the meantime, please share the link if you haven't already done so. This is the Ghana Agenda. We are going to be discussing some very serious and very interesting issues. Let your friends, family, people who may like these programs watch it as well by sharing the link. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back to continue the discussion.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid health insurance program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome back to the show again. My name is Alfred Amuzu. I don't know what I did here. I think I need to edit my name because it just says A. Anyway, so my name is Alfred Amuzu and you are watching the Ghana Agenda. I have with me in studio so far one of my guests in person of Lifetime Legacy. He's ready to start the conversation. We are waiting for Paul DeSoso to join. We would also be joined by Efa Amayao, Dr. Atto Komina, if we are lucky, and Daniel Ampasa of the MPP. So far, it's a message from what is that? Madeleine Haynes says VOIFY. I don't know what that means, but I don't know if it means that you cannot hear me, but I'm sure you can hear me. So far, nobody says anything, which is good. But let me go into the studio and bring Lifetime Legacy so we can start the conversation. Again, the topics we table for today's discussions are three very unique issues that we are currently pondering over as a nation. What I mean by that is the budgets, which is the 2022 budget and some of the provisions in it. We know that there are certain demands that have been placed on the table for the government to amend. We know that the Speaker of Parliament, who's on leave for medicals, has since returned and made comments about way forward, proposed two things, and we'll discuss those two things to see what that way forward would be for this bill. And some of the things contained in it, especially the e-levy, which is the one that is the pain of everybody or everybody's talking about. And then we'll talk about the COVID updates that we heard from the president. All right, thanks for that music. So we hear from the president on the COVID updates and some of the policy procedures, policy proposal that he is putting out there for travelers into Ghana and for even Ghanaian citizens. The issue of mandatory inoculation or mandatory vaccination and how far that would be carried on, how much vaccinations or vaccines we have in the country, etc., etc. So we'll talk about that. And then the last thing I want us to talk about is the MPP, Congress or the MPP embarking on their party Congress currently in Kumasi and some of the things we expect to come out of that. Lifetime Legacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's been a while. We haven't seen you for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's true. I've been busy for engaging in some personal stuff, work, academic works, and trying to put things in order before we enter into the new year. So that took part of my time for some time now.
Okay.
But I've been monitoring activities from afar.
Great.
And I'm still a member of the family.
Thank you so much. So we have a message from one of our ardent viewers. Nana Otumfo says, I'm Nana Otumfo watching you live from Ghana, Accra. Thanks for watching, Nana Otumfo. Please share the link so others can also view us. We know this program is growing from strength to strength, and it's all because of people like you who would, dedicate your time to watch us week by week. We really, really, really appreciate it, Nana. So, Lifetime. Last week, I know you probably watched us, even though you were not part of us. We talked about use cases from other countries and how a place like, Malawi, after proposing their version of e-levy, realized agitations and the concerns and sentiments registered by their parliamentarians and citizens, and decided to scrap it altogether completely. Cote d'Ivoire, we know, had their version altered, where the tax is actually going to the telcos instead of to the people. So they've increased tax on the charges that the telcos would take up by 7.5% instead of a direct charge on transactions between people to people, like P2P, what they call P2P, person-to-person transactions. Now, I've also seen something yesterday from the Ghana, I think it's Ghana Telecom Chambers of Commerce, right?
Yeah.
Communications Chambers of Commerce, saying that MTN, which is one of the telcos, and Airtel came together to suggest a decrease of 25% in their transaction charges as a way of stomaching or helping people lessen the impacts of the e-levy as it comes to implementation. So my question is, it does appear that even the telcos can do better. Even the telcos, they can actually reduce their prices, because if they can, come, deliberate, and realize that, it is possible for them to reduce their prices by 25%. My question is, why wouldn't they do it now, regardless of whether e-levy is actually implemented or not? It does show that there's some room for improvement in terms of prices to benefit people. So why wouldn't they do it now? And why shouldn't, and I think maybe there's the need for some advocacy or some sort of group that would approach them, try to push them to get this done, because the Ghanaians need a break. And it looks like the telcos are in good position to do so. So why would they do now? Vodafone doesn't charge anything. MTN charges 1% of transaction fees. Airtel does the same. And they are both suggesting that instead of charging the 1%, they can charge 75.75% as a way to cushion the burden. What do you think about that? Why can't they do it now? So that whether e-levy comes or not, at least the Ghanaian gets a little bit of a break.
Yeah, Alfred, thank you so much. I'll first of all thank our viewers and our listeners, and also call on my other panelists to join us so that we can have a fruitful discussion.
Right.
I have been watching and listening to the debates, most especially on this platform, when this budget and the e-levy thing emerged. And I will want, for the first time, congratulating my brother Ifa for the way he handled the debate. I think for once, my senior brother Ifa had been a Ghanaian than he used to be, and I will congratulate him on that note. It is my brother Aponsan whose view I'm yet to hear more, but I think for once my brother if I have been so a Ghanaian to me, which I also go in that target.
Right.
Yeah. And also I think Doctor also I've been listening to his opinion, the way he was complaining now that going forward the little money she sends to her grandmother will be taxed, and he's so worried. And I think it's a worry not to my brother, my senior brother, Dr. Ato, but it's a worry to all of us.
Yeah.
Because all of us here, one way or the other, are a source of livelihood to others back home.
Mm-hmm.
And they depend on us for little support. So if we will also be burdened by virtue of we trying to support our family members, I think it will be very, very difficult. A few minutes ago, I was talking to a friend in Ghana, and the person needed help, and I said, "Okay, I'll do what that I can to send what I have to send to you before January, so that I will avoid paying momotas." And we all broke to laughter. So I think my position on the e-levy thing is like that of my co-panelists, the opinion they have expressed in the past. To borrow my senior brother's word, this is a lazy man approach. Even though I believe in taxation, I think the government have a way they could get people who are not paying tax on board than going into this tangent. When you look at our economy, for instance, the government is making so much revenue when it comes to fuel. And that is one way to get everybody on board who is not paying tax to pay tax. And for me, that alone should be enough, rather than going into this tangent of trying to tax people. I, as somebody who have lived in a situation of unemployment before, where whilst I was in Ghana, to depend on friends or relatives, sometimes it gets to a situation where you only need something little to turn around for a day or two. Okay. And if you have a friend, you tell the friend, "Oh, Charlie, today, as we normally say in our local dialect." And the person will say, "Oh, then let me momo some 100 cedis for you." So if this will be taxed, by the time the money gets to you, the value of it's gone. You get it? So as somebody who had left Ghana not quite long and experienced how the true situation is in Ghana, taxing this will be very, 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 very bad. Sometimes you realize that in order to comfort the person at the receiving end, you end up, if you are to send 100 Ghana to the person, you end up adding 2 cedis to it so that the person will, at the end of the day, still get the 100 Ghana.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it is not the sender, it is not the receiver who is paying the cost. You get it? Because at the end of the day, your ultimate objective is to allow the person at the receiving end gets the 100 Ghana. So in order for the person to get the 100 Ghana, you, the sender, end up bearing the cost. So what they are saying that the sender does not bear a cost or is not going to. I have listened to the bill so far, and for me, I think the government should go back again, look at it again. I am of a firm opinion that yes, there should be a tax, but there's a way it can be done without doing the distance. And already the telcos are paying some contributions to the government from the revenue they are making from what do you call it, the transaction. They are paying some revenue to the government. If I will be more enthused if the government would rather appeal to those telcos to increase the margin that they are currently giving the government and then leave it the way it is. Because at the end of the day, if you look at 1.75 plus already what the telcos are charging, by the time you finish, whether they maintain the 25% they are promising to reduce, or they maintain it, at the end of the day, you realize that you are going to pay approximately 2% of every transaction. When you add already the existing charge plus what the government is trying to introduce, when you even sum up the two, it will be more than 2% of what the transaction is going to be. So it is not something that anybody will should take it so lightly. I sit here, if I want to send money to people home, I only deposit the money into my account back home from here and then begin the distribution. So it clearly indicates that if that bill is passed, every transaction that I will do, or payment that I'll do, or offer that I'll do, or gesture that I'll do to somebody, I'll have to pay something on it. And when that happens, I'll be dragging my feet to be willing to helping others. And one thing I have also noticed is that the people who are going to be at the pinch of this, if it is implemented, are not the rich. Because, for instance, as I sit here, I am taking a plan B. Should that bill pass, how do I navigate getting my transaction done in Ghana whilst avoiding that tax?
Right.
So
okay.
I'm trying to get back my checkbook, write my checks, send the checks back home. So whoever I am trying to give offer, I only tell the person to take the check. So at the end of the day, I have found a way of avoiding that tax. All that I'll do is, if somebody is living here to Ghana, I give something, the person change it, it goes into my account, I issue check. So at the end of the day, the ultimate aim of the government taking money from me will be avoided. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because when you look at last year or this year, for instance, I have used my account to done a transaction more than 1 billion. You get it? So now that I know that I'll be taxed from that money, I am finding a way around. And it is not applicable to me alone. Everybody who is in a position to do like I have said right now will begin to think a way out of this. The poor who would depend on a friend or a relative for 100 cedis or 150 cedis will be the person who will be burdened.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I don't think the ultimate aim will be achieved. Amount of to draw my curtain down on my point, amount of transaction that took place between 2020 and 2021, for which it's making the government thinks that there's so much traffic on that area, and for that matter, they want to tax. It's because of COVID. People will begin to coil back into their shell, and that money will never be realized.
Okay, great submission there. And I want to take the opportunity to welcome the rest of our panelists to the studio. We are now joined by Afa Amayao, Paul Disosu of the NDC, and Ato Kwamina Danso, Doctor, Independence. Let me welcome Afa and say, Afa, I would be interested in hearing what you have to say about what the telcos are suggesting. What that means is because without the telcos, it means every transaction will attract at the minimum 2.75%, right? 1% to telcos and 1.75% to government. But the telcos are willing to reduce their portion by 25%. Not 25%. So 25% of 1% is 0.75%, right? 0.75% would be what is left. So what I'm saying or what I'm suggesting is it looks like we are shifting closer to the Cote d'Ivoire model where the telcos will be the ones to actually pay these taxes. If the telcos are willing to give up 25% of what they currently charge, why wouldn't they just give that to the government and leave everybody alone so that e-levy will be scrapped altogether? Just take that 25% from telcos and walk away. What do you think would that be a feasible way to actually approach this, Afa?
Yeah, thank you very much, Amozu, for the opportunity, and thanks to everyone here.
Right.
It's always an honor to be here, to be part of the discussion, and I'm always blessed that I get the invitation each time. It is not because of anything, but it's a privilege. Thank you very much.
Because of how good you are.
If I come here, and out of anger or out of whatever I say something, I don't mean it. It is all part of the passion we have for our country and our party and stuff like that. So sometimes we get carried away. So forgive us when we go overboard. And to our fans, to our cherished listeners, sometimes you may be disappointed, but it's all part of the show. Yeah. So greetings to everyone. And Ato and Legacy and Mr. Hyde behind the scene. I hope the family is doing great. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go straight to the point. I think that we are not certain if the proposed 1.5 is really going to happen. Okay, there's still discussions and there's still poolings and stuff like that going on. Okay, so the telcos have been charging 1%, and now they want to do it at 0.75, giving away 0.25. This was to be expected. I think that somehow they sat down and realized that this will be too much on the customer, or to be too much on the users of the platform, and that there was the need for them to do. And if you read their letter, they did a lot of consultation, look at their profit margin, and they are making a lot of money. What Legacy is saying is something to be expected. You see, the truth of the matter is the telcos are becoming some form of a financial institution, and the bankings are losing out. So if it goes back to the banking stuff like that, I think it's something that they also envisage. The question of maybe government is not going to get a needed revenue, we'll live to see. Maybe yes, maybe no. Others experience that in other jurisdictions. Let's see what the Ghana this thing will be. I've always maintained that, you see, somehow there will be a percentage. I don't know what the percentage will be, right? Now, let's look at the appropriation bill. If you read the budget, right, the government was talking about 137 billion, right? Now it's been raised to 145. The appropriation bill that has been approved, 145. I think about 10 billion or so, or 9.8 billion has been added to it, right? Can you hear me, Alfred?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you were saying they approve some 10 billion, but for specifically what?
The appropriation bill appropriation has been raised. The original budget proposal was 1.37 billion, right?
Yeah, it's because of the purported allocation for Kita and
exactly.
other
Kita and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So exactly. So you see, when we do see so addition we've added more to it.
Mhm.
Maybe there's the likelihood of budget deficit, right? More than what has been given. And then we also want to cut the revenue that we are collecting in the country.
Right.
And that puts the government in a fix, and we got to have the discussion. Okay, so are we okay with this continuous borrowing? And then, for now, the current situation is that, okay, we collect all these taxes, we use them to pay workers, and then the rest goes into interest. So our debt is always ballooning, and it's always going to be there. So what is the way forward? How do we cut all these things, right?
Mhm.
I think that there should be some form of taxation, right? The percentage is high. I agree. I totally agree. Government should come down, and I want the opposition to do a good job of cutting it down. The question of no, it's some way, right? It's some way.
Right.
No one has the solution to it, and that is what we have. I am also going to say it is very, very important that we have to look at the revenue leakages. You see, if all these things that we are doing, if we are just going to play politics with, okay, so government said they spent 127 billion on this, they spend this on that, without looking into efficiency and stuff like that. You see, we're going to get these bills next year. Is going to come. 2023 is going to come. 2024, 2025, 2026 is going to come. It is like the leakages are endless. And we've been hacking it year on year on year on. Sometimes we seem to be doing well, and then it jumps. We have to look at the way these revenues are going, the way money that is meant for development is going other way. Auditor General has been saying, and then we widen the tax net.
Right.
These are also very important to cushion us. But in the meantime that we haven't done these things, what is the way out? The way out is taxation. We all agree on that. But how do we tax is the problem.
Mhm.
And for me, I don't even think that is the problem. It's because we tax and still, the citizens are not able to see, the reason for which we keep taxing and taxing and taxing. But
Right.
this time around, I am looking at a situation where we really grill government, we really grill these people that are in charge of our revenues and say, hey, I am happy that, there was a discussion of a middleman. Now it is cut off. Yes, these are all good measures. Okay? We cannot spend 240 something million for middleman to do what? Huh? We already have the Ghana Revenue Authority and various collection agencies in the country. Let's use them. And I'm happy, we're pushing and making headway in all these fronts. So if you ask me, yes, what the telcos did, right? What they are charging already is less than what the government has proposed. So there is no way telcos are going to say, okay, so let me give you the 1% and nothing. They also have to make some form of profit, right? So there has to be a balance. And I am waiting to see within the week, and finally when all these things settle, how much is it that we're going to pay? I think the percentage is what we should spend time discussing, because something is going to be charged. 1.7% we agree is high. So what should be the better option for all of us? And it is not in me to say this or that. It is, it is all of us to, come to that agreement. But there has to be some form of taxation.
Right.
On that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's welcome.
Daniel, welcome.
Yeah, let's welcome Daniel to the show. Today we have a full house, and I'm so happy about that. That always makes for good conversation. Daniel, welcome to the show. I do have a message here from Atokomina Beidou, which is so we have two Atokomina, right? All from the Chicago area. Atokomina is asking Mr. Muzu, what percentage of fees are charged on mobile transactions in Cote d'Ivoire by the telcos there? So I did some little digging, and what I found is the telcos charge 0.95% service charge in Ivory Coast, and that was the amount that was increased by 7.5% by the government in order to cover for the e-levy. So that it's what I'm able to find online by Googling. All right. So basically, what you are saying is that FI is that we need to kind of close the leakages, and at the same time, while we still thinking about the e-levy, we should worry about what percentages we should charge that would make it effective, etc., etc. Thanks for that submission. Let me bring in Paul D'Souza, who may disagree. Paul, I know your camp is in favor of scrapping the bill altogether, but it seems the telcos are making some gestures, very favorable gestures, as a way to cushion the impact on the citizens. What do you say to that? Do you think that would be a better way to approach this, or an alternative solution that is workable and acceptable to everybody, where the telcos just give that 25% or 25 cents for every dollar to the government instead of the government charging the citizens?
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, Paul. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy to be on the show. And I'm on the road, but I'll be joining via video in the next 15 to 20 minutes. But I'll make my earlier submissions on this issue. Look.
Yeah.
Let us call a spade, okay?
Mm-hmm.
No country can develop without the government going for or asking its citizens to support in the small way they can by paying their taxes.
Right.
That is how every country is built upon. The issue that we are talking about, the issues that we are raising about this e-levy, and apart from the e-levy, the 15% tax on all government, activities or operations or fees is this. As we speak, Mr. Muzo, we have a jet sitting on the tarmac at Kotoka International Airport, which we are paying £15,000 an hour for it. Apart from paying £15,000 for the jet sitting on the tarmac of Kotoka International Airport, the jet have 7 crews, and these crews, we have put them in a 5-star hotel. Mr. Amuzo,
yeah.
If you are in difficulty, economic difficulty, and you, the head and the leader of the country, you have decided you are not going to tighten your belt, but you want the grassroots, your citizens, the people who pay the taxes, whose money you are using to pay that £15,000 an hour for a jet that is sitting on the tarmac as you speak, which is not flying, and you are asking us to pay extra taxes. Of course, every citizen will be defiant to it.
Right.
The reason why we, or Ghanaians, are against this budget and the taxes that has been introduced is that this government is an insensitive government, number one. Number two, as we speak, okay, the president, a lot of issues has been raised about hiring jets and the jet sitting on our tarmac without not flying, paying for it, that all those monies can be used to develop our country.
Right.
Have we all taken a look at the office of government machinery, the amount of money that is going to that office? 3.1 billion Ghana cedis. Out of this 3.1 billion Ghana cedis, how much of this money alone is going into unwest activities in the presidency? And such example is the plane that is sitting on the tarmac. Number two, as we speak, Ghana COVID money that was given to Ghana, the World Bank, the IMF, the Bank of Ghana, and African Bank, all this money that was given to this government during the year 2020, a year ago, to mitigate the COVID situation. Look at how they've wasted the money. Look at the account that has come out. And if you are a government, you think you are sensitive, you are just wasting money left, right. At the end of it, you want your citizen to pay for your inefficiency. This is not going to happen.
Right.
We are saying that this government has left its priorities and is following unnecessary things to cut down costs, which I know my brother Ifa always asks, what is the solution? The solution is that this government is causing a lot of waste in the system that the government need to set up. They need to do 360 retrospective thinking of themselves and cut down the cost of unnecessary expenditure, such as the presidential jet that the president is using. That's one of it. Number two, we have seen, and I am not saying that it was only under this government that we see wastage, revenue irregularities. It happens in every government. But look at the quantum of percentage that this has increased since 2017 to date. From 2016, the percentage increase is of 1,150 points of government inefficiency and irregularity of government revenue.
So what you're saying is
alone.
So what you're saying is that there's a lot of waste in the system, and that we should be able to take care of the waste as a way of realizing revenue.
Exactly. Just 2020 alone, the revenue irregularity is 12.8 billion Ghana cedi.
Right.
This e-levy that they are trying to introduce, at the end of it, is going to generate 6.9 billion every year.
Right.
Mr. Muzu, if government is mindful, if this super incompetent president and its allies, they are mindful and they are sensitive to the plight and the need of Ghanaians, the first thing this government should be doing is, what are the mechanisms, what are the strategic plans put in place to reduce, if not to block all these leakages, to reduce it to the minimum level?
Right.
Nothing. No plan has been put in place. Let's wait and see how much irregularity that will be happening in 2021. That auditor report will be coming out very soon for us all to see.
Okay.
Now, if all these things are going on and the government is not taking any action to correct them, the government is just wasting money, the government is not doing the right thing, and you think you go to your citizens to ask them to pay more taxes, they will not pay the taxes.
Okay.
Now, I agree with EFA and Legacy. The telcos has been charging 1% on these electronic services.
Right.
The question is, these telcos all are foreign companies.
Right.
Apart from Tigo, that the government have a share in it, even the foreigners also have a share in it.
I think the government owns Airtel as well, right?
Airtel, yes.
GMPC,
That's Tigo. Airtel is Tigo, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Apart from Tigo, MTN, Vodafone, they are making millions of dollars every day, every second, because they carry a large quantum of the traffic. Now, it's a good news that the telcos are deciding to reduce their service charge to 0.75 and allow 0.25 to be given out.
Right.
Being said, as this has been said, I will suggest and I will propose to this super incompetent government that if we were them, I was the president, I would have called or seized this e-levy and have these telcos go down even another 0.25 points, so that at least the telcos will reduce their profit margin by 50%.
Right.
Which what I mean is that now the telcos will be charging 0.5 cents, and the 0.5 cents will be for the government.
Right.
And when you do that, you use the rest a year, a half or two to go back and rethink about this e-levy, have conversation with stakeholders. Those stakeholders, bring people on board, bring the opposition on board, bring the CSO on board, find out how you can reintroduce this e-levy in a way that all Ghanaians will be on board with you. But this government, they are adamant, they don't listen, they will do what they want to do. I just want to set this notice over here that as we speak, the minority in parliament have not had any discussion with the government on this e-levy. If they think they are going to bulldoze their way through to make it pass, we all wait to see. But I am very confident that the 137 number that we have, they are going to fight to make sure that this 1.75 does not materialize. In anything, in any way, we need to go back to the drawing board. Let's sit down. Let's bring all stakeholders on board. Let's look at what can be done to make sure that we all get a reasonable means of doing this taxation. And I am happy that if I admitted on this show some few minutes ago that he is happy that the middleman has been cut off. These were the issues we're raising, and some of their communicators who think they know it all will not be ready to admit it. But if it's one person that I like so much, anytime that something is wrong, he comes to admit it, and he has admitted this afternoon that 242 million cedis that will be paid to an entity to collect these taxes has been taken out. It is due to some of the noise that we have all made. And I'm very grateful that at least if I have admitted that was needless, it was waste of money, and that the government has come to its right senses to take that bill off the table. But as we speak, let's also put on record that there is no budget. As we speak, let's put on record that the Minister of Finance said he's going to do some reconciliation in the budget that he just presented. So for now, I don't even know what appropriation bill they are passing.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll come to
Thank you.
Bagbeans, what Bagbeans said in Parliament, and what ramifications or what I meant to the budgets, and whether the MP or the minister has to actually come back to Parliament. So we'll talk about that. But let me also take the opportunity to read what I have from another comment from Ato Komina here, who says that I thought the telcos in Ghana are charging a total of 2% on transactions. In other words, they're doing 1% on senders and another 1% to withdraw the money. Why are we saying they are charging, only 1%? So basically, it's 2% according to Ato Komina. Okay, so let me bring in Daniel, and then I'll bring Ato last, because Ato, I still like that independent view.
A quick one. Right. So Ato, the percentage is on transaction. A transaction is either you sending or you withdrawing.
Right.
So money can sit in your account or stuff like that. So once you're doing a transaction, you are using the platform. So they're charging no transactions.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's saying that the telcos themselves, even if you withdraw from your wallet, they charge another extra 1%.
Yeah, but a transaction is either sending or withdrawing.
Receiving.
Okay? Yeah, so once you're doing a transaction, the charge is on transaction.
It's only 1%. Okay.
It's 1%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. So we are right. So we are right to say that it's 1% because we are only speaking about the transaction aspect. We are not speaking about withdrawal from your wallet, which is a different or completely something different. Okay. Then we've missed you for a couple of weeks. We've talked about a lot on this e-levy thing, so I know you have a lot to say since we haven't heard from you at least 2 weeks. We've done analysis of use cases across some sub-Saharan African countries. Cote d'Ivoire stood up to us because we know how they introduced their 0.5%, and they have to switch that to levying a 7.5% on the fees that the telcos themselves generate from the transactions. It looks like Ghana is veering towards that too. Ghana is saying that, or the telcos are saying that they are willing to give up 25% of what they charge. Should this be where we are heading to? Should this be where the government, because we are still waiting to see what the government's revised concessions or proposals would be, should this be where they head from your standpoint?
Yeah, thank you. I'm with you, and greetings to my co-panelist. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I'm with you. You see, like I always tell you, some things are technical, and you leave it to the technical people to deal with it. It was going to come to this point, even if the government had not even sat down with the telcos, right, and just put this fee on there like it's going to leave it. The telcos are going to figure a way out. And if you've done taxation, we talk about the incidence of tax, right? Whenever there's a tax on a commodity, I mean, depending on the other day I told you, the elasticity of that commodity, consumers don't transfer the food tax onto the producers, don't transfer the food tax onto consumers. They absorb a certain portion of it because they themselves know that fully transferring it will have impact on their own business model, right? And the electronic service fee is one of those that I knew government strategy was to get to the telcos, but he had to do it indirectly this way.
But the use of electronic, means of transferring funds is inelastic, right? It's not going to change. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's how government can come with 2%, knowing that the telcos definitely will absorb some of those fees.
I mean, if it's inelastic, it means that regardless of what price you charge, the people will pay it anyway. Because
the people will pay, even if they reduce their services, the reduction in their services will not be, the percentage reduction in the services will not outweigh the percentage increase in service fee that you are charging them. So on that basis, you are still going to make your money.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say? That is why I told you that this e-levy, yes, some people will coil back a little bit and say, I'm not going to use the platform, but it's not going to cut the demand for the use of the platform dramatically. It's not going to be a significant decrease. The way people fear that, it was going to let people stop using some people will do it, but the percentage of the people who will do it, as again, the percentage of the people who will still maintain the usage of it and pay the fees, it's a sea difference, right? So for me, I'm not surprised. The telcos, they had no point. This was to force them to do something with their own fee because they were taking all this money and government is like, how come these people are taking all this money and we are not getting a piece of it? So now, if the telcos agree to do this, then it's like chimpe, right? It's like they are getting equivalently the same thing like government is getting. So we are all getting the same thing. But government taxing authority will not change. Eventually, if the telcos see that it's having an impact on them, they will be forced to reduce theirs. As for government, I mean, coming in and say, I want to take this, I mean, I don't think that is going to change. So there's more on the side of the telcos that I think based on the technical people, they know they have to get from the telcos, but they have to do it this way to force the telcos to come to this position. So I think that tells me that maybe if they explain this behind the scene to the minority, we're like, hey, the telcos are taking our money away. If I went directly to say, telco, let me charge you fees, they will start complaining, you already charged us corporate profit. Why are you coming to charge us this fee? They will start making, that whole big noise again. So let me make it and let them know that we are all paying the burden. Some Ghanaians are going to pay for it. You also pay a portion. That way, I mean, you are getting two things. You are getting some from the telcos. You are getting some from the population. Everybody's contributing towards nation building. And remember, I always say, I see this as a levy. A levy, government just get up and charges a levy on everybody. Let's all pay something, right? It might not necessarily be tied to, I mean, an economic activity, a profit, because it's a levy. You can just levy people on things and say, yeah, and I think that is how they've categorized the fee levy.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, and even just to kind of stretch that point a little bit, to make it more accountable, they earmark it towards specific things, right? For instance, the youth start has been one of them, and etc. So that it's easier to trace where that money is going and what exactly the money is doing. Even though we've had, other ones like the ESLA that was earmarked and few other levies that were earmarked, sometimes we know what happens to how they get used. So finish your point.
To wrap up on the point about the 241, I, for instance, I mean, that's why I'm saying something when you're communicating, you need to be specific. Otherwise, you shoot yourself in. I mean, you shoot yourself in your own, attempt to try to play propaganda. Amuju, in this country, when the IRS collects taxes, you think that the collection of taxes doesn't come with some cost? Currently, the Build Back Better plan that Congress passed, they are increasing the IRS budget to be able to audit the high earning income bracket people. Because oftentimes, when the IRS do is that they audit the low income bracket people. When they are doing their audit sampling, they pick. That's how some kinds of people say, "Oh, the IRS picked on me," and they say, "I owe," and then they want you to pay them back. That process require you employing people. It require you, having many hands on there, and it's cost. Administering the tax doesn't come cheap. Some costs might be relatively cheaper than others. But if you're going to administer a new tax like e-levy, even without e-levy, you think that GRA does not incur any cost collecting all the other taxes that they collect? They do. So the GRA expense, when they are drawing their budget, they will have those items as part of their budget because it's going to cost them money to collect all this revenue or monitor them or provide assurance to government.
Right.
And then somebody comes and tells you that, oh, e-levy alone is going to cost 241. And then you go out there and look at the item, the budget item based on the person's own reference. And the budget item doesn't say 241 is only for e-levy. It puts it into this broad category of, GRA's activity of collecting taxes and administering taxes. And of course, if e-levy is coming, it's going to add up to that effort, right? Do you remember the issue about what do you call GV? What is that name?
GVG.
Kelvin GVG. You know Kelvin GVG's role in monitoring the taxes that they, when we make international call, there's a tax on it. Do you know that? Right. GVG candidate role was to provide assurance services to government that what the telco said they are collecting from those taxes actually what they are reporting to you. Otherwise, if there's no control mechanism to check whether the telcos are reporting something, they can come and report anything to you, the government. How will you know that? So that was the role of GVG, providing assurance services to government. So you see that every tax collection, there have to be these other things that come with it to ensure that your tax compliance is working, to ensure that the means of collecting it is working. And e-levy, from the way I say it, if already the telcos are collecting, what do you call it? Their 2%, then that same method, government will have to also monitor and see that, okay, if you are collecting your 1.75%, I should also be able to monitor whether you are collecting that for me. But the telcos already have a means of collecting their They are 2%, right? So I probably think it is going to be the same means that they are going to use to collect government whatever. But in this case, GRA is going to make sure that they go after them and collect those money. So the additional cost of collecting the e-levy can never be 241 million. Because
so
that would be less.
41 really, it's total.
Exactly my point. So that's why I'm saying that if people are communicating and people don't take care, you just come and throw things out there and think that, oh, because you said it, that is it. Some of us, me, based on my professional understanding of how these things work, I will challenge you.
Right.
And so now, if the telcos have agreed they might collect it for government for free, and government says I'm taking it off, that doesn't mean that the GRA will not incur costs in ensuring tax compliance.
In this case, if telco says they'll collect the e-levy for free and the government is taking the whole,
I don't know about that. I haven't heard about that. That is why I don't know why they are saying that item is taken off. Because if it's taken off, are you telling me that the GRA is going to collect government taxes without incurring any cost? Why is that budget item?
If it is taken off, then perhaps it meant the entire 241 was just for the e-levy, because the government wouldn't just.
The finance minister didn't say that. Based on the article that was shared on the platform, when you read it, the finance minister was categorical. He never said that. So this is the finance minister explaining that position to her. So I'm still at a loss. Why somebody will tell me it's scrap? If it's scrap, what cost is the GRA going to incur in administering tax compliance? When you finish, you also have to do.
You should make some calls to your people and figure that out. Right?
That is what I'm saying. That's why I don't like propaganda. I want to deal with facts. Because will it make sense to you from a business perspective? Just the way I explain how taxes are administered.
Scrap the whole GRA.
Exactly. So where is that item, that GRA item that says that if they are going to collect this tax, we know tax collection doesn't come cheap. It's not free.
But it's interesting that your own people are proposing and taking back out. So
I don't know what the discussion. That is what I'm saying. There might be more to this. But I'm only explaining to you for you to assess. You can also make your own assessment based on what I'm saying and tell me if it doesn't make sense or not. But for me, I'm still not convinced that it's been taken out. I don't know if it's also the propaganda they are playing. It definitely has to be somewhere. Right. You cannot tell me it's been taken out. But what I knew before is that the 241 was not just for e-levy. The e-levy was inclusive. It was for all that big, So if somebody can tell me only e-levy, you are going to charge that amount, I will say that is madness. That cannot be. You know what I'm trying to say?
That 241 is something we should follow up on.
Yeah, we should understand where that budget item. So the GRA definitely, apart from e-levy, GRA has been collecting taxes, right? They collect some other taxes. It costs them money to do that. Where is that budget item? You get what I'm trying to say? So I want to think through if the telcos can collect this for free for them and e-levy doesn't have to come with additional cost of collection from government, hooray! That is good news for government, right? You save money out there. But surveillance, who is going to do surveillance? Just like GV Kennedy was doing surveillance. Who is going to do that for government? GRE, maybe. I don't know. But probably they have discussed this through with them and they know how this is going to be administered and collected. On top of that, somebody also said that, there was a company already that was named. The company was going to be assigned the contract. That was the specific allegation. Specific. And I said that cannot be true. Because if the thing has not even become law, how are you going to determine who is going to collect the taxes? Sometimes these things, tax collection, you can.
You have to do the planning before.
But how do you even know the company ahead of time? Because you have to do procurement.
We've seen this in Ghana before companies were put together.
Don't speculate. If you've seen something, that doesn't mean that you replicate it everywhere you go.
Frontier, we've seen so many other companies that were hurriedly incorporated to do things for us. So
so that is a different matter. On the specific issue of what we are talking about, there was no company mentioned. And now GRA says is going to take that function. So be it. So sometimes let's be clear in our communication and let's not throw things out there and confuse everybody. And then come back and try to unwind it when you know that the facts and the specifics, here it's completely different from what you alleged initially. And to come back to the e-levy thing, I think that
wrap it up for us.
To wrap up, I think that I heard the last minute debate in Parliament. And I think that I liked what Haruna did in Parliament in regards to the e-levy. You see, I've always said that, politics, people must see politics as, something that is truthful and fact. Haruna said, we are against e-levy. And this is history, because this is history we are making here. Tomorrow, we are going to use the words of these politicians. When the day of accountability comes, we are going to judge them based on their words and what they stand for. So we need to know what the minority stand for and what the majority stand for as far as this levy is concerned. And Haruna said that we need to debate this on the normal sitting days of Parliament, not like an extended hour, 11 p.m., 12 p.m. I think yesterday they were trying to figure out what to do, whether to even go to Parliament this morning, Saturday, and do it. But I think Amabenua's funeral was this morning. So Haruna said there's no way the NDC can go and, come back tomorrow, which is today, to debate the e-levy because they have to attend Amabenua's funeral and some other members too on Saturday have other commitment. But Monday, Tuesday, he want them to come back to the floor the normal time that Parliament says, which is around 10 a.m. or 11 p.m., debate it fully and let the minority have their say, the majority will have their say. At the end of the day, the Ghanaians will know what the majority stand for, what the minority stand for. And if it has to be subject to a vote, they will vote. And definitely, if it is going to be subject to a vote, you think the MPP will lose out. They are going to win. So they will have their way. But you cannot tell me that if I'm a minority government, I will dictate to government how government must administer, the country and force a policy on them. No. You have to debate your position, let the Ghanaians know, and then after, if they refuse to listen to you, take that to the electorate, tell the electorate that I told you these guys are not good, and let the electorate decide on the government. That is the politics of it. That I have no problem. And I think that is the NDC's only best shot. But they cannot say that they as a minority will dictate to government a particular government policy. And
thanks for expressing Santahini's sentiments over there. Let me take this to.
But before Santahini made that, Kakape had made the same argument.
Well, Kakape may be talking directly to the Santahini, so
Kakape had made the same argument.
Santahini got it from. Santahini probably got it from Kakape. All right, so let's take thanks for those submissions, though. I really appreciate them. Let's take Commandant Danso, Dr. Commandant Danso. Ato, you are neutral, so I expect some good information from you. The telcos are saying they want to help. What do you think about that? Should they be fully actually just taking this thing on, and so that the people can go about? Because we really need a digital sort of platforms to support this digital agenda or digitization agenda that we are embarking on. So what do you say to that?
So before I start, for the first time, I've seen that my brother Paul and Ifa have been on the same page. Right. I don't know because today is the last Saturday. We're talking about today, not the last Saturday, but for the first time, I've not seen Paul talk about Foriata with his company making $240 million.
And that is a fact. That is a fact.
All this
there are documents, and we know, and those documents are available, whereby the communication minister and the finance minister have been fighting over which company should be taxed to be doing that e-levy collection.
Right. So, Paul,
that is not true. There's no information on that.
Guys, let's give
there's no information on that. No, that's not.
Paul, I know you're going to come. Submission. Paul, you're going to come. I know you've heard a lot and you have to respond to a whole lot of things.
Let me give you the two companies. Let me respond to. Okay.
So why don't you hold that, and then when you come back, let Ato finish so you can respond to all this. I
just want to serve a notice that I will not allow Daniel to come and sit here and be referring to the minority and be using words that are not palatable. Can deal with him equally in that level.
I'll get you to respond to that.
He should be mindful of his words, the way he describes the minority people, the way he talks about the minority and the opposition. We should be very mindful of his way. He is not knowledgeable than anybody over here. He's not wise than anybody over here. And he should not think he's a professional than anybody over here. Okay. So when he's talking, you should put that respect and know that we are here to have a discourse, not for him to be trying to disrespect the minority. You over here sitting here, in the minority, who are you better than?
Paul.
What are the names? What are the names of the minority team? Who are you better than?
Hold on to that.
But seriously, I did not see any disrespect in Daniel's discussion.
Okay, guys. You don't hear him saying that the minority, they should know what they should do. They should not. They don't think for them.
But that is a fair comment, Paul. That's a fair comment.
Bullshit over here. Excuse my language.
Paul, we also call the president incompetent all the time. So
the president, we call the president incompetent all the time. I agree to that. I have said it on this show.
But you can't call the president incompetent in that aspect.
For Daniel to be rubbishing the whole minority, thinking he knows better than the minority, I will not sit here and allow him to denigrate my minority members in parliament. It is not going to happen on this show. Read my lips. It's not going to happen. So far as I'm part of this show. Thank you.
All right. Okay, cool. All right. Well, we are sorry about that. That kind of got a little heated. But let's bring in Ato. Ato, you will definitely calm the nerves down. So go ahead with your submission, Ato.
Yeah, I thought for the first time we had some consensus and it turned out to be oxymoron, but okay, it's fine. I mean, I am not happy with the telcos taking that cut.
Right.
Because you know what's going to happen? We're going to push that to the consumers.
Well, like we said in Cote d'Ivoire, right? The government specifically asked them not to push it to the consumers. So
they would find a way. And I am actually very surprised that telcos have turned into anti-sectors, that we are not demanding accountability in regards to quality service delivery. Like I said last week, you can call somebody right now will tell you that the number you called is unavailable. Try and send money, it goes through all the time. So how are we making sure that we're getting better quality delivery in terms of telecommunication in Ghana?
Right.
So I thought at least the government would patch this with better service delivery. So that if you want to be part of Momo, then you're supposed to provide quality service to Ghanaians, because Ghanaians are still suffering.
Right.
I don't think if you go to you go to the UK where they have similar servicing in the UK, they have poor services. But right now we have turned the telcos into money-making business,
into banks.
Yes. And they, like I said, they like Daniel said, they know they were making so much money and they'll lose. It's better they take a cut. So I wish the government, this government, and all other governments would make sure that the telcos are not just turning into banks,
right?
But they would do the right thing that they were intended to do. I am really surprised that all of a sudden the telcos have turned into money-making business through mobile money. No better services in Ghana. Like I said, you can try to call people for hours, and you will not reach them. So what is government doing about that? And I agree with that, Daniel, in regards to the amount. The amount that you cannot just say that if you're making 8 billion, our budget for collecting the revenue will be the same.
Right.
It would never be the same. So I'm actually very surprised that government is getting rid of that. So where would they get the money to collect?
But the government itself is the one giving the missing the missed signals, right? You charge in one moment, you budget for 241. In another, you scrapping it. You're telling the people that maybe they are correcting the allegation. Yeah. So
And also, I agree with Paul in the sense that we have to cut the wastage, because then we cannot.
Sorry, I have to inject in. Right. Can I come in? I think when you look at the way hurriedly that particular money was taken out, from where I sit, without mischievous mind, I think the government is just doing it just to calm nerves and find a way of introducing it in another time, because there is no way such a magnitude of money in terms of generating revenue will go without working towards it.
Okay, let's get I thought to land so that we can switch, to a different question.
So just 2 minutes. We all agree that because of COVID, we have, even in America, we have to find a way to collect taxes. The e-levy is one of them. Although we all here agree that 1.75 is huge, the government will have to come up with, say, a percentage. That I would agree. I mean, with the cutting of wastage, I think I'll just throw that back to Paul, that we have members in parliament who were taking double salaries. the minority leader in
I thought you're supposed to be neutral. You're supposed to be neutral.
Yeah, I'm just. But he said that. I'm just, because today IFA has admitted that you have to cut the wastage. IFA had made some submissions to that, but Paul is the only one talking about cutting wastage. That we have members in parliament making double salaries that we can't even talk about right now because we're talking about.
But we also say we have a plane on the tarmac.
That's true. I agree. Like I said, we have to cut.
And the pilots are being put in 5-star hotel each day.
Yes, we are.
Can Dr. tell us which members are making double salary in Parliament? Can he tell us?
I think he's referring to before. Remember, when. I think that was 2016.
It has happened in MPP. It has happened in NDC.
I'm not saying about.
I agree. They should take all of them to court. Whoever has taken double salary, they should take the person on and take the money from the person.
But because we are being selective, we're just talking about the president's.
I am telling you, it happened. Oche or Mensa Bosu is on record taking double salary. There are some members of the MPP also on record. So when you are saying it, be open and let it be. I mean,
yes, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you that we have to cut cost. And I'm saying for the first time, you have come up with ideas. Right. The last time we were only talking about the finance minister and the president, but I'm saying that I admit that today you've come up with ideas, including cutting those wastage, and it includes members of parliament, including the Haruna, taking double salary. So as Ghanaians, we have to also talk about all these things.
And Chair Osei was also taking double salary.
So double salary will be.
And to add that Parliament has also demanded double the amount of money that was budgeted for them.
Yes.
They don't want to talk about all this.
Okay. I guess we are getting off topic now, right? Let me
Paul wants us to, but we gotta come back to the table.
No,
I want to bring Paul. Hold on.
You know me, I will do an objective submission.
Paul,
politics.
Paul, you need to cool down today, else we're gonna box it out. Cool down. Well, if you don't cool down, there will be a boxing match today.
I'm just saying that I'm going to be objective, but
because your heat is affecting all of us.
If anybody tries to play politics, I'll play politics. That is
no one is playing politics here, man.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's bring Paul back. Paul,
yes.
The Speaker of Parliament came back from his operation.
Can we get some few minutes for rebuttal?
Yeah,
very, very important.
Yeah, we wrote a rebuttal into the next question I'm about to ask. I mean, I'm going to ask the question. You can use the time for whatever you want to use it for. But the question I have now is, we saw the Speaker came back to Parliament, and we're expecting a couple of things. One of the allegations that was made against the Speaker, I was expecting him to speak on. I haven't heard anything. I don't know if you guys heard anything. It was claimed by Afenyo Market that the Speaker, in the middle of a negotiation, said he's not going to negotiate no more because Kevin Taylor is on him, is criticizing him. And I think this was profound, that our Speaker would say such a thing while negotiating for Ghana.
Did he say that on record or somebody misquoted?
This is what Afenyo Marker actually said on News 5.
Yeah, I heard Afenyo. Yeah. Afenyo said it on News 5.
Yeah, it's profound that such a claim will be made by Afenyo, and I'm expecting that as he came back, he would have been asking for Afenyo to retract those words, etc., but nothing came out of that. Also, upon his return, he said he has deliberations with the executives and leadership of the House on ways forward for the budget, because again, the budget was rejected. All of a sudden, it's approved. All of a sudden, we are in all kinds of negotiations. We are now talking through the appropriation bills for a budget which no one knows is approved or not. Now, the Speaker is saying that for a way forward, he wants the Minister of Finance to come back to the House and present any amendments, modifications, whatever changes that would have been made to the original budget. That is, the Minister of Finance needs to come back and table that for a discussion. He wants the committees to go ahead and continue to negotiate their individual sector estimates and appropriations in the meantime, so that when the amended budget comes into the House, they can just update the areas that have changed. So let me take Paul first. Paul, what do you think about the first part of my questions, which is that allegation about the Speaker being under pressure by one of our own friends, Kevin, in this case, and so he couldn't function, he couldn't continue the negotiation. And the second part is the fact that the Minister of Finance has to come back to Parliament. Do you think this is necessary? If the changes are made, why wouldn't those changes just be discussed at the committee level so that we can move on?
Thank you, Alfred. Before I go there, when you go to the budget, right. Appendix 4B, summary of MDA expenditures allocation, and look at item 47, it stated that e-transaction levy services, and the amount over there is 241,933,000. That's the 241,933,000, which is an issue.
Like million, yeah.
Let's be clear over here. Nobody sitting on this platform, as respect, will convince me or tell me that that amount include other services. There are subsequent budgets that have been presented that if Daniel think he knows, let's go back to the 2020, 2019, 2017, 2018, and let's see where in those budgets that they've stated a line item to be e-transaction levy services.
So you are saying that they were specific about what they wanted.
Exactly.
So they couldn't come out to say that it's.
So you can't come and tell me they're trying to throw dust into people's eyes, saying that it comprises of a whole tax system collection and all those stuff. I am saying that this line item, because this issue became an issue that the minority started making a lot of noise, which is a fact that we know that the Minister of Communication and the Minister of Finance even has a misunderstanding about the company that was supposed to charge these fees. That is why they have deleted this line item from the budget. The Minister of Communication was insisting that GVG, which is the company that now works with National Communication Authority to monitor all the transactions between the telcos. That is why they were able to know that the money transaction in the money transaction space has increased to such a huge amount. That is why they want to tax them through that red avenue. I am saying that if a line item has been put in the budget and stated categorically that it is e-transaction levy services, I know I've not gone to school before. I'm a low-level guy. I will take it. If that is the introduction or the understanding of some of our colleagues over here, that's fair to them. But it is a clear and stated clearly, and it's a line item.
Which line item, please? Which appendix?
Yeah, he's trying to. If you can reference the page for
appendix 4B. Sam, Alfred, you are the host. Can you go to the budget appendix 4B?
Yeah, I'm trying to open it now. So
MDA expenditure allocation, please. And then the line item is 47.
Okay, I'm opening it. Go ahead with your submission. I'll pull it up.
I am saying, if there was a misunderstanding and these letters are all out for there, we all saw it. Let me make it clear to Daniel over here this afternoon that as much as when we were in government and they in opposition, they were getting all sensitive information. It's the same thing that is happening in this administration, and it's going to happen in every administration. Because the people who work in those ministries, it's not all of them who support your government. It's a fact, and it's a non-fact that the Minister of Communication and the Minister of Finance have had a total disagreement about who should be charging this, e-levy. That is why when they went to cabinet, the president stamped his authority to ask them to drop this line item and let's allow the existing company, GVG, that is doing the electronic telecommunication transaction that is going on Ghana, to be taxed to do this transaction, because they can do this thing without even a personal charge. So please, can you post that item there? I have not been to school before. Per my understanding of the budget item line, that is what it is. Now, let me move on. I want you to show this thing.
Paul, their
website is down for now. I can't.
I have 4B open here because I know I posted that 4B. Which line item, Paul?
I said line 47.
4B 47.
So Paul, I wish you address the host instead. Otherwise, it will become a problem.
Yeah. Let's be looking into that while we continue with the program. So Paul, can you, if you can wrap up your?
So I just want to establish that, and you as the host, please look for it.
The website is down. That's the thing. Yeah.
Just to control file on your electronic device and look for and type e-transaction levy services, and to bring it up for you, and you can post it for everybody to see. It is right stated there. They didn't state it there that it is all electronic charges. It is e-transaction levy services. Maybe I have not gone to school enough to understand this English. So I'll hold it here until you, the host, set the record straight over here. I'll move on to the next question you asked.
Paul, so basically the issue I'm having is I usually delete these things from my computer, but their website is down. If you have the budget, drop it in our WhatsApp.
I'll send the budget to you. I'll send it to you. And let me finish. I'll send the budget to you, then look at it. Okay. Now, let me come to this Speaker of Parliament, this Deputy Speaker, and this buhaha that is going on.
Right.
Look, today, this MPP government, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, an autocratic president, think they can use their way to circumvent the laws that were made to govern a country, they should remember that they will never be in government.
Right.
Because how can it be that in an organization, if I being the CEO of an organization and I being a deputy CEO, if I will make a decision and if I will be absent or travel and I come and overturn a first decision, this doesn't even happen in corporate institution organization.
Right.
So for me, the deputy speaker of parliament is causing a lot of disservice to Mother Ghana, to himself, and to his party.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, this speaker of parliament has stated on record that he will never do anything to derail the business of government,
right.
which I am 100% in total support of it. As much as it is not my government that is in power, the government machinery need to operate, need to run, because if we do that, the economic crash is going to crash on all of us, our head.
Right.
As much as that is a fact, we or the speaker should also not sit down for rules to be turned upside down.
Okay.
I was expecting the speaker after coming and after giving his opinion about what has happened and stating, laws upon laws, citing, examples that has happened in Parliament. I was expecting him to make a categorical statement saying that, therefore, whatever decision he held still hold. But I think he's trying to bring peace and reconciliation to move the country forward.
Right.
That is why he made it clear during his submission that the deputy speaker cannot, and what he did is Samantha to disobedient, Samantha to turning or disrespecting the authority of the office of the speaker, not he, Abanudagbe. Because tomorrow it will be him sitting over there. And then I will be the deputy speaker, and he can make a ruling. I'll go and change it. And I think the MPP folks over here, they think it's good and it's something in their interest, so they will support it. Right. But they should know that precedent is there waiting for them. Okay. I want to say over here that for the process to continue, for all the two parties to be met halfway, the Minister of Finance admitted to some concessions about the budget. So, Mr. Abusu, if you present me with this document I'm holding, and this is the document you came to read to me at Parliament, and now you've come back to tell me and make some concessions in it, added some things, taking some things out. Example, the e-transaction levy, which is a contention over here, has been dropped and all those stuff. And are you not supposed to come up with an updated document and present to Parliament? Parliament is a house of record. Right. You can't just speak verbally and think it should be recorded into the system. Because in the next 50 years, when my son becomes the president of Ghana, all these documents will be called to. And these are the documents that will be referred to. So for me, I would say, if the majority and the MPP and the folks over here think they can use their numbers, and which was made by Daniel, that whether they like it or not, they are majority, they use their numbers, they should go ahead. But posterity is going to wait for all of us. And as I stated over here, if they think they are trying to disgrace the speaker is an individual, but it's the office that they're deliberating. I'll not be surprised if tomorrow His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president who stated on the Congress that the whole world wisdom has been given to his vice president, tomorrow he take a decision and then his vice will come and turn the decision opposite. I'll not be surprised. Ghana will admit it, because it's the sort of country that the MPP has reduced Ghana into. This is the sort of shame the MPP has brought Ghana into. And this is the time for all level-minded people to rise up and speak against the injustices that is going on in Ghana. Ghana is not for MPP. Ghana is not for the Akufo-Addo. Ghana is for all of us. And I want to use this medium to appeal to our colleagues and learned people all over to speak against this unfair treatment on injustices that is going on in Parliament. We need to fix it. If not so, it will come back to Hamas.
Paul, others say that the decision in Parliament is not it's not the decision of the Speaker. It's Parliament's decision, which means the people present and voting. So if Parliament comes back and change that decision, then that is Parliament changing Parliament's decision.
Mr. Amuzo, based upon the record in Parliament, on the 26th of November, there were 274 members of Parliament in the House.
Right.
Because they knew their numbers was not up to, they walked out of the House. That does not mean they were not in Parliament. Unlike the one that the deputy changed, on the day that he changed that decision to reject the budget, that day there was only 137 people who registered because the deputy speaker was then a substantive speaker and he was not part of the members that have reported present in Parliament. This alone should suffice the case. But I am happy that a citizen of the country has gone to the Supreme Court. As a fact, and I said, and we agreed the last time, let's wait for the Supreme Court to make a decision. But I'll end it and say that precedent that they are citing, it will come back to harm them. And I'll be very happy. And I know you are a very smart guy, Alfred. All these steps should be keep them very safe, because in the year 2025, 7th January, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama become the next president of Ghana, these things will play back. And we are going to hear what my good friend Efa will be saying. All these things, what I will be saying. All of us will be put to test. Our records will be there to speak for us. So for me, I will condemn it if it was in the NDC era, and I'm going to condemn it if it's the MPP era. Something that is wrong is wrong. Let's respect the Parliament of Ghana. Let's respect the laws and the rules that are used to govern us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul, for those powerful deliveries and powerful submissions here. Let me just quickly say that I'm selectively reading comments. I'm not reading all. Some of you are very harsh on my guests, so I won't read the comments that are very negative.
I know if I was going to hire his people to test and insult me, I'm okay about that. If I know you did that.
Okay, so let me take this one though.
I don't even know any of the people watching and texting. I don't know them.
All right, let me take this one from Kwaminato, who says that the question of your a question for your guest. It says, Mr. Muzu, why do we break so much sweat on budget proposals when the real deal, the real rubber meets the road happens during appropriations? We all live in the United States, and over here, Congress does not fight over budget proposals, but reserve their energies for appropriations. In fact, Congress hardly passed any president's budget proposal. I think MPP should focus more on the appropriations. So that's what Komina is saying. He says we should focus on the appropriations, which is where, the reality actually occurs. And of course, my boss, Kwache Moses says, sharp brains are talking. Good show as always, Alfred. Okay, let's go to Efa Kakape. Efa, you've heard Paul said so many things, and I know you have a lot of rebuttals to come with. But while you do that,
Alfred, can I share my desk and show you the document on the budget, the page? Can I share my desk?
I don't think you have. Try to see if you can share it, but I don't think
Alfred,
you have.
I have seen the page that he's talking about. So he misled all of us. You, Paul.
Well, Paul, if you don't mind, right, drop it in my WhatsApp, and I'll be able to share it so we can all look into it.
Paul, you see why I say that this propaganda is so. Can you hear me, Paul?
Daniel, hold it, and when you come to your side, I want you to be able to use that to drive your presentation.
Right.
So Kakape, do we necessarily have to bring an amended budget to Parliament, especially with what we are hearing from our one of our viewers, Ato Kwamina here? He says the real fight is really at appropriations. The appropriation negotiations are currently going on. Why don't we just do these things at the committee levels? Because we're really running out of time. The year is about to end and things need to be passed so people can be paid. Things need to happen. If there's going to be the e-levy, we need to know so that we prepare for that February 1st day to, also we can send our monies to Ghana before February 1st. What do you say to that? And also the fact that Bagby didn't come back to deny, the allegations against him that he was under pressure by a journalist who criticized him.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me deal with a couple of issues raised by Paul. Okay, so the leakages, we shouldn't forget bloated projects and Airbus scandals and stuff like that. They are very important that, we block all those leakages. Okay, so you see, so if you read, and some of these technicalities, if I get it wrong, you guys can correct me. So when there's a new introduction of taxation, right, the collection, there's a percentage. I think the global percentage is 2.5% of the total quantum, which will be given to whoever is collecting. I don't know whether it goes to existing or different companies. I don't know where Paul is getting the cabinet meeting from that the president said Kevin GBG should be collecting all those. I don't understand, but it's part of one of those propaganda, and the fact that they are fighting. In fact, it was one of the pro-NBC newspaper trying to create the impression that there is a fight between these two companies. Of course, it is taxation, right? And it is in the telecommunication industry. So if there is an existing company there, you can make a suggestion that this and that and that. But this is all a broader decision to be made by appropriate government agencies and not one person or the other. So let's get these things set in their right perspective. Now, so let's deal with the issues. Paul, you see, listen. So what we need to set clear is that is the budget approved and appropriation is being made, or Bagman wants to say that the budget that he rejected before he left, or he supervised its rejection, still stands, and that they should present a new one. Well, you see, you guys are confusing us. Now, on the day that Bagman was supposed to have said the budget has been rejected, right, when he sat, what he is requesting was what the finance minister came to create a house to be given the opportunity to do. That you have made some suggestions. When I made the presentation, I've taken those suggestions into consideration. You made blah, 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 blah. So give me the chance to go. You said no, and I can bring it back. See, these are the contradictions. And when you guys confuse us like that, you see, we have a country to govern, to move and go forward. Now, don't confuse different decisions based on procedures laid out to what happens in Parliament. Okay, that's not the issue. Now, if NDC, you see, I read somewhere when the minority said that on the day of the approval there were 138. Who added to the 138? They have never mentioned the name of the person that added to the 138.
There was one person in the chambers who? Yeah.
Who? What's the name?
They didn't mention names. Correct.
Exactly. They will never mention name. Right. So they put us into a conjecturing, instead of us debating the issue, they debate the others. You see, we have a serious government business to do. It is the budget, right? How many people were there when Bagman sat? How many people were there? See, we need to settle this. We need to settle this in and move forward. As far as we are concerned, right? When Joe Wise sat, the budget got approved, and that we're moving on. Okay, and that is where right now, as we are talking, there is the appropriation, the committee, and all these kind of stuff. Okay, so we are moving on. So we don't want a derailment, muscling of power, and you come and you want to show that you are blah blah blah. You see, if the rules have been broken, let's straighten it up and go. Let us not. It is like we don't even know what he's trying to tell us, that when he sat, his decision holds, or what is he trying to say? Okay, and nobody is undermining anybody. Okay, when Joe Owusu sat on that day, there was no issue of you cannot make decisions, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. The issue they were debating was him. You see, if you could count himself, and that is why it ends, and not the decision that was made. So, Paul, get that straight and don't come and mislead any of us here. Let's go to the pressure on Bagbe. You see, I don't have any reason to doubt the majority, the deputy majority speaker, okay, and Hussein Bagwin, he hasn't denied it. Yes, there is pressure. So we all know that the NDC has trained these vicious social media guys out there, okay? When they approved the ministers, it was led by the communication officer. He gave it to all of them, the leadership. He really, really gave it to them well. And I'm surprised that Paul is having issues with what your friend is saying, with what Daniel said, and not what Sami Jemfi and other people sit on social media and use words that cannot even be used on this platform. There you don't have those issues. So of course, obviously, but hey, if Bagwin is telling us that this thing is giving him pressure, then I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Then he cannot even go beyond the speaker. Then maybe he should consider resigning as a speaker. Because this is what comes with decision making. We've been here. Let's take the Fourth Republic. Rawlings has his cut. Kufuor has his cut. Mills, Mahama, Nanadu is having his cut of insults all over. Words, anything. People will curses going to the boss and cursing them. And you sit there and you say somebody is insulting, so based on that, there's pressure on you. I'm sorry, our leaders. Now, when you sit in a place called public office, know that it's not a private business where you make decisions to satisfy. It is that vision out there that you see. It is the constructive criticism that will make us get to the destination that we need to get to as a country. It is not, oh, even if this is good and I do it, someone is insulting me. No. And it is important that our leaders are guided by that. The insults are going to go on. And in any case, for me, sitting here, it is not the issue of the insults. It is the issue of the developmental projects that they are not getting. That's what they're talking about. Okay? So for a decision to be made based on this, it is very unfortunate. And all the leaders should know that if you know that you're doing something bad, then change. Other than that, see the vision in the decision, see the people that you serve, and make sure that you make the right decision and give us the development that we want. It is very important, and we need to do that. It is in fact, it is very, very important. Okay, now, so having put all these things together, what we need to realize is that as a country, you know, we need to move forward. And we cannot be playing on these emotions and doing all these things. And Parliament, sometimes it gets intense, I understand. But they need to cut the quote unquote, I don't even know the word to use, okay? That they get to a situation where it is like a chaotic place. You know, they want to fight to the point where somebody will come and say, I fear for my life. Why? Are we there to box? It is not a boxing ring. It is a place where you know, you propose stuff, you speak on issues, you bring ideas on board, things that will help, you know, take your people out of the underdevelopment that they're going through. Things that will see that, you know, we get the benefit for which we put you guys out there. I know. So if Paul is talking about injustice in Parliament, it is coming from rather right now we seem to be having a bullying from the opposition because they think they have the numbers to muscle up a little bit. You know, muscle it out, but muscle it out to the point of the benefit of the Ghanaians. Don't do it because you just, you know, you feel you want to corner us or do all these things. And sometimes we don't want to believe in some of these things that we read.
So when you social media, Asantehini about did he pick that from you? The issue of the opposition are making decision for government.
He didn't pick that from me. He just he made his own point. Okay.
Right.
And I think some of these things should be seen from the context of the way we want to move. We have to move forward as a country. Okay. And not to be twisted for people to be bashing and trying to whatever, sometimes when some of these big people in our community come into some of these issues, there's a need for us to all build consensus as we're talking. Right. Okay. And then move forward, because at the end of the day, we fight and fight and fight and hold government to a ransom. Towards what end? Okay. Towards what end? And for me, it is the vision, it is the benefit of the whole thing. That is why they're pulling it. Just as you see, there's a lot of things that NDC has intentionally pulled down because they know that the benefit will continue to put them in opposition, and they want to also come to. We understand all that, but find a better way of doing it than this plain way of doing it, and it doesn't help any of us.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Message from Amayo Aram, and thanks for watching, Amayo. Share the link so others who may benefit from this program can also watch us. She says, yes, we need the financial minister to come back to Parliament for precedence. Also, when we are talking about serious leakages, it is very funny, disrespectful to the Ghanaian citizen to leave the billions of dollars we are losing now and blow buzz branding for our own political satisfaction. Third, are you saying, Alfred, it's okay for Bawumia to overturn a decision made by Nana Addo? Let us be fair. Let the same rules be applied to all. Posterity will judge us. Okay.
So where is the comparison of Bawumia turning Nana Addo? How is that comparable to Parliament, where you need numbers to make a decision? When when President Akufo-Addo is taking a decision and Bawumia, do they go looking at they need a certain number to make a decision? So
propaganda done.
Thinking that all of us are just, I don't know, zombies to just pick stuff. I mean,
I think it was a parliamentary decision, right? Because it's
that is what I'm saying. In Parliament, you need numbers. If Bawumia and Akufo-Addo are taking decision, do they need numbers? Do they need any standing order to tell them what numbers are required?
I hope you heard the statement she just made. Stupid stuff.
Right. Let me read. There are more statements in the back.
I hope you heard him. He's saying she referred to stupid stuff. I hope you heard him.
Did I say okay, thank you. I said people should take it serious. Don't take it as zombies. That's what I'm saying.
In context, Paul.
All right, context.
Come on.
Stop hammering this guy. Okay. Atoko that says the NDC has been making silly arguments if a speaker, not the ceremonial one, who is also an MP and represents a constituency and is presiding in Parliament, his or her constituency loses their say in the affairs of the country. But that's what the Constitution says. Do you think Nancy Pelosi stops representing her district when she's presiding? But our Constitution was specific, right? If you are in the seat, you can vote, which means your constituency do not get the benefit of you voting on issue at that time. Amayo Aram against this, we can't move forward on the wrong wheel. The right wheel should be employed. Okay. And I haven't pre-read this one, but I'm going to read it, hoping that is correct. It says, if a known principle in any democracy, Mr. Muzu, the majority cannot usurp the people's mandate. That is tantamount to a coup d'etat. The minority can have their way, but the majority has to have their way. Minority can have their say, but majority have to have their way. That is democracy. So what the Asantehene is not or said is nothing but affirmation of the democratic principles. Okay. All right. So what you're saying is Asantehene is not really saying anything bad. Okay. Thank you for all your messages so far, and we appreciate you for watching. Let me go to I think I went to a file, Lifetime Legacy. In this case, Lifetime Legacy, keep it brief for me. What do you say to the fact that, for instance, if we were here screaming at Bagby right now, Bagby is saying that he can function because we are screaming at him. Is that problematic to you? Do you see a problem there from where the speaker can function because opinion leaders are criticizing him?
Thank you, Alfred. I think you give me the same time my colleagues have gotten so that I can.
Sure. But
yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Let me do a few rebuttal. I'll start with my brother Daniel. You see, the arrogant posture of the MPP is what has brought us to where we are today, where we have barely a week or two to get into next year, and we are still considering budget. It is not true that it used to be so, but it's not true currently that the minority will have their say and the majority they will have their way. I want this to get into the mind of every MPP member. Last night, at the tail around 11 p.m., they were trying to pass this e-levy bill. Whilst they were having the second deputy speaker of parliament in the chair. If it hadn't been the 137 members of NDC side in the house, they could have passed that bill. So they have their way. You see, this arrogant.
I thought they said the e-levy bill wasn't even taken to the committee at all. The committee haven't had a discussion on it.
I listened to a member of parliament this morning, ABA Fuseni, talking to the public, and he will not speak to the public when he lied, but in lying. I hope I'm making sense here.
Yeah, but I'm saying that what's the name of this guy?
So John Jinapor lied. John Jinapor is lying, right?
Jinapor came out to say that
the
Deputy Minister of Finance did not said the government is putting a brake on the e-levy, and his reasoning was that but that not to mean that they are completely pulling it from the budgets. It just happened that I think I'm even hearing Daniel says that because they don't want to discuss it they don't want to not discuss the whole thing fully. They want to have the whole parliament in session so they can discuss it so that everybody's present. And that is why it was not discussed at the committee level. But
that was not the case. But let me move on with my point.
Okay.
So what I want to say, and say it strongly without fear or contradiction, is that the MPP should tone down that posture, that arrogant posture, where they think they always want things done in their way. It will not work this time. You see, the last time Adjusafo was in parliament, okay, after that day when she showed up, the sequence day she didn't go to parliament, including yesterday, this week. So you still don't have the numbers. You still need the support of the minority to make some of these decisions. I was watching Kili how people were flown from this country. To be precisely, Kennedy Japan was airlifted from this country to go and join the number. While still they couldn't have the number. So it is not true that you minority will have their say and you have their way. Gone are the days. But as it is now, the earlier you people get that into your head, the better for you. Let me move on. In the issue of Gbagben being afraid for that reason, he didn't comment. Alfred, I want to ask a question. Who is making that allegation? Afenyo Markins.
Afenyo Markins, yeah.
The one who says that the government is considering reducing the e-levy from 1.75 to 1.5, which it has turned out not to be true. Or the one who went and pick a picture from Kenya or Sierra Leone to say that it's water region.
So you are challenging the integrity of
the message is good as the messenger.
Yeah, but shouldn't Gbagben be concerned about that? You couldn't just.
I will come to that.
Okay.
You see, the message is good as the messenger. Who is talking? Who is making the allegation? What is the track record of that person?
Does not mean the current
all
allegation
those things are relevant.
False, right? But it doesn't mean the current allegation is making is false.
I am saying that, you and I were not there, and we don't have the factual.
Right.
Okay, we don't have it. We don't have the truth to say or otherwise. We are using Afenyo Markins' words against the person who is uttered the message. There is no evidence to that effect. that what Afenyo is claiming indeed did happen. But the track record of the
person who
messenger,
purportedly uttered those words himself didn't say anything. And
I am saying that I'll come to that. So the message is good as the messenger. The track record of the person who is making the allegation is questionable. So we can't take his word for this thing. I know Bagben very well. Bagben is a man of his own. He's somebody who speaks his mind. The last time I met Bagben one-on-one, I thought it was in 2015. Bagben is not somebody you can just walk over. Bagben is a whole institution as far as Ghana's democracy is concerned. You get it? He will not descend so low to the gutter of level of Afenyo Makin to come and defend that questionable character, what he's putting out there. Look at how
this is a deputy majority leader who goes into meeting with the speaker.
He has a questionable character. He came to lie.
For him to say something, Bagben cannot just.
You don't have any counter.
I am saying that Afenyo Makin lied on 2 occasions. Yes. So how do I believe
Afenyo may have lied? Afenyo Makin may have lied on several occasions before, but there's nothing here showing that he lied on this particular one. Well, the speaker have to come and say that, whatever Afenyo Makin said was wrong or was inaccurate for us to actually.
The elderly in our local
but I'm saying the speaker being silenced is almost like implicit acceptance.
It is not true. The elderly in our local language, to be precise in our camp, Openyi Duya Mante. I hope you've heard that word before.
Who was insulting Bagben? Because Bagben said in Parliament that some people were insulting him.
You get it,
right?
I know we're proud to the rejection of the budget. How uncomfortable people from the MAF side, I mean the NDC side, were have the notion that Bagben is delaying the process to favor the government or the ruling party so that they will be able to marshal their number. I know all these things were said, but he never uttered a word or two on it.
Right.
You get it. Bagben is a level-headed person. And I know today, even the MPP, the way they thought the man would have, when he come back, he will react. He have surprised all of them. He have shown the maturity. He have shown that he is part of parliament as far as this Fourth Republic is concerned. Nobody in the current parliament is more experienced than Bagben. So he don't need to descend so low to the level of the likes of Afenyo Makin to prove a point. He doesn't need to do that. You get it? So the earlier, the better the MPP gets this into their head, the better for them. Because this is the budget for their second year. If they want to go by this arrogant posture, always want things to done in their way and favor, it will not help them. It will not help them. And the earlier they get the lessons, the better for them. It is obvious. It's very disheartening to the list to say that people who are supposed to condemn the wrongdoing are trying to glorify the wrongdoing. You and I are living in a civil society. What happened in parliament, is this something, if we want to be objectives as people, as intellectuals, as some people, we should be justifying? That's why you say no. You get it. When Bagben or the budget was first thrown off, what was the situation? The situation was Haruna Iddrisu conclude his debate. The finance minister came to make his appeal. The the governing side also came in through the Osem Mensa, came to make his conclusion on the debate. Did they say? Did they send a signal to the speaker that they are going out? Should that stop the business of going on? Is that the first part? Is that the first time?
Right? We know what happened. We know we are here.
Yes. So my question is: was that the first time a section of the parliament will walk out and business will continue? So I think what the deputy speaker did was wrong, and in the minds of level-headed people,
Why is that wrong?
They all know. It's the mind of civilized society. They know who are monitoring what we are doing. It's shameful, but Bagbin, as matured as he is, as sound as it is, will not join them in the gutter. He will let the sleeping dogs slide, so that putting the interest of the country first for us to move on. And I think that's what he did. And he deserves applaud.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lifetime Legacy. Now, let me actually go to Daniel. Daniel, let me hear you sound off on this. Speaker of Parliament was under pressure because he's been criticized. So if we know that, we should try as much as possible to not criticize him because we want him to be effective. Second, should we take this bill back to Parliament? Should we take the entire budget back to Parliament, or can we just, perhaps handle it at the committee levels, get the agreements going, and have the committee come to the floor and present on behalf of the committee? And if it's accepted, we should all move on, especially with the issue of e-levy.
You see, Paul. I said Paul. Paul is in my head. Yes. Right. So you see, Abuju, this is why sometimes I always want to go by the NDC's own logic. You see, I'm not going to tell him my opinion. I'm going to go by the NDC's own logic. So what makes the NDC think that if they have 137 in Parliament, they can have their way, but the MPP 137 cannot have their way? What makes them think like that? That is not arrogance. That is humbleness, right?
No, listen. My brother.
Don't let him go. Let him go.
He started on the wrong note. What I want to say about this is
it's a rhetorical question. Lifetime Legacy, you don't need to answer. It's a rhetorical question.
We have 137.
Let him go.
We demand respect for each other. That is what I want to say.
Okay. I get it. But the fact that you require respect doesn't mean that if somebody is assertive about his point, that is not being respectful. I can be assertive about my point if I believe in my position. The fact that I'm assertive about my point doesn't mean I'm being arrogant. Challenge me on my point. That is the point I keep telling you guys. If somebody's assertive about what they believe in, it doesn't mean they're arrogant. Challenge them to the point. And that is what Parliament is meant for. You challenge people on their ideas. You challenge people on the record.
Okay.
So,
Bagbin under pressure.
No, yes. To put it this, and think about it. It's not just challenging people. I mean, this is not an academic environment. You get what I'm trying to say? There's politics layered on top of this. So you can imagine that definitely, apart from challenging people on their point and intellectually trying to make your point in Parliament and trying to win the Speaker's eye, on top of all this is all happening within a political context. It's not happening within an academic context, right? So you see, even the environment is different. And because the environment is different, the emotions and the reactions are going to be different.
So we should pick everything that comes up from our face.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm only letting you know that some things is going to be incidental to the political process. So don't be too overly, worried about those, because it's going to come with the nature of the environment that you have to make these decisions. So be calm and look through what I would say the substantive issues. Forget about the form, right? Concentrate on the substance. Forget about the tangential.
But, what we are discussing here, it's almost as though somebody at that level of responsibility is compromised in a way, right? By criticism. Something as simple as criticism.
There's a context and there's a history. Let me give you a bit of a history.
When he will stand up and stop negotiations, very impactful negotiations, because apparently the majority was trying to get some concessions or wants to take the bill down, go consult and come back and whatever, and he pulled out of that. Allegedly, pulled out of the negotiation.
Let's be fair to the speaker.
Let's be fair to. For you, continue to emphasize. You are glorifying the position of Afenyo Markins, which I strongly disagree.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean, Afenyo Markins made a serious allegation on national TV.
And I'm saying that who is the person making the statement?
Let's
that is very important.
I'm also saying to you that he may not be trustworthy for past comments that he has made.
Let's not belabor that point. I think we've already gone past
that. Comment has not been challenged. So I don't know why Lifetime Legacy thing it didn't happen.
Let's go beyond that. Let's go beyond that. That's fine. We can live with that. But there's a history and a context here, and let's remember the history and context. The history is that remember that in the past, Bagman had made some statement that seems to be representing the House. And some people came and said, no, Bagman is not a member of the House. He cannot be making statements that represent the House. Every decision that has to be members of Parliament making the decision. Bagman only reflects that decision. Remember, there was this tag and war about Bagman hasn't made some orders, and people are like, this not orders of the House. James Sabunsu had found occasion to challenge him that, hey, these are your orders. This is not Parliament's what? Orders. You are not a member of Parliament. You are just a speaker. You are to coordinate us and reflect our decision in this House.
Right.
That had happened before. And prior to that, also remember the context that the NDC itself, on their minority side, because of the way the vetting of the ministers went, had consistently accused their members of Parliament of being sellouts. And so coming with this and coming into this particular e-levy thing, the members of Parliament or the minority side were not going to, just do things in the what do you call it, in a back door. They were going to make everything public, put it out there. So this was what guided them to come into the House. And Bagman also knowing that the NDC people had accused him for playing to to what do you call it, the game of the MPP. The NDC people had accused him for playing to the game of what? Of the NDC. Bagman too wanted to be outright out there letting people know that, hey, I'm not that type, right? Like this guy said, Bagman, from what I have observed in Parliament, has shown that he's a man of his own. Even he had cause to fight his own NDC minority. Why? Because he thinks that some people have to live to a certain expectation when it comes to Parliament. And he keeps reminding them that he's been in this House for a very long time. And so he cannot just be bullied around. You get what I'm trying to say? So, yes, that level of integrity I can give to Bagman. If I have Bagman and Afenya Makin saying something, I can give 90% of my trust to what Bagman will say compared to what maybe Afenya Makin will say, because Afenya Makin is young and sometimes political, he's that. Bagman sometimes not too political. So just looking at these two figures, yes, I can give that level of confidence to Bagman, like you are saying. But here's the case he hasn't come to deny. That is what is only making this thing murky, right? Other than that, what Legacy is saying, I'm tempted to believe that maybe Bagman did not say that. But Bagman made a statement on the floor that they are insulting him on social media. He did say that on his handle. So definitely somebody might have been insulting him. If it's not Kevin Taylor, it definitely might be somebody either from their NDC stock, or it could even be an MPP person who is disguising himself as an NDC person. Who knows? Nobody knows. You get what I'm trying to say? On social media, people can pretend to take the image of or the identity of people and do things and pretend it, put in the name of people. So there could be this whole thing going on. But the issue is not about who is insulting Bagman. The issue is about him saying that because of that, it influenced the decision that he has to make. That is what the problem is. You get what I'm trying to say? But I don't think that, and a lot of people had concern about that it does really influence, Bagman's conduct of doing his professional job in Parliament. Then there's a problem.
Then we have a serious problem.
But we don't know that from a fact that, I don't know from a fact that that really influenced Bagman's behavior in Parliament.
You've made a right point by saying that from where you sit, you know Bagman more than way of doing things with integrity. How do you come back and end with what you are saying?
No, we are saying that Bagman didn't.
I'm analyzing it. I haven't even made a definite statement. I'm saying that, yes,
he has integrity, but he still need him to challenge, right?
Yeah, and I've not even made a definite statement because I don't know. Now you are challenging me. I don't have the full. If that really happened, that Bagman quelled him because somebody criticized him, then that is problematic. But I doubt the stature of Bagman, and given what I know, that Bagman will quell him because somebody elsewhere who doesn't even understand how Parliament works and is sitting on social media doing propaganda will be the basis upon which the speaker will say that I am speaker. Whenever speaker takes any decision, he must take those decisions with the standing orders in mind, and it has to be supported. So, well, people can make propaganda. This could be propaganda as well. You get what I'm trying to say? When people want to destroy you, so there could be so many things happening here. But regardless of all that, what has Bagman done eventually? regardless of all that, Bagbin still sat in and did what he has to do that he thought was, the best way. He sat in the process, took the process to an end before he left. So as far as Bagbin was concerned, he had decided, the budget had been decided on before he left to his medical leave. You get what I'm trying to say? So that doesn't really make any difference here anymore. Bagbin had already sat in and done what he had to do. If Bagbin had not done that and left the budget approval to the other people, then somebody can say that statement that Afenyo Makin said, it's probably the reason why Bagbin did not want to sit in. But here, who cares? Bagbin had already sat in and determined the case and left. And behind him, something else happened.
Okay. So can you quickly tell us conclude on the portion of where
I listened to Bagbin yesterday. I followed Bagbin. When they came into the house, Bagbin made make some statement. And he went back to speak about this very issue of budget approval, budget rejection.
Right.
And then in there, Bagbin did not really condemn outrightly what Joe Osei-Wusu did. He said that what Joe Osei-Wusu did he used the word procedural challenges. Procedural what? Challenge. That is the key word that he used. That there's a procedural challenge with what Joe Osei-Wusu did. And I think that was a smart lawyer, because Bagbin knows that the fact that he disagrees with that does not make his position automatically correct in law, except that Bagbin was relying more on what he termed as precedents in the House, and was using that basis, the basis of that precedent, to say what Joe Osei-Wusu did was procedural challenging. But remember, I told you that I have no problem with this confusion going on in Parliament. It's a good confusion, right? Somebody will say an elegant ambiguity. Somebody used
right. Well, there's the Supreme Court case
so let the Supreme Court decide. At the end, they will know whether Bagbin's position is the law, or what do you call it? Joe Osei-Wusu's position is the law. Let the Supreme Court decide for them. So I don't want to even decide whether Bagbin is right or wrong. Bagbin could be right. Who knows?
Should we get
could be wrong eventually? Who knows?
Should the budget be sent back to the Parliament for?
No. From what happened, you see, Bagbin was trying to find, what do you call it, a smart way around but from indirectly, what Bagbin is saying is that what Joe Osei-Wusu did cannot pass for the budget. You get what I'm trying to say? So doing it the way he has.
But essentially, if there are significant amendments, we want to see.
I don't know why Bagbin wanted it that way. Maybe he thought that would dent the precedents in Parliament, and that would create future problems. And therefore, to avoid those future problems, he was advising. Remember, it was an advice. He didn't really put it in as an order. He said, "I advise." So, as for advice, the leadership of Parliament will have to sit down and think through this and do whatever they want to do. If they don't do it, that confusion will stay with them. Let it stay with them in their house. They say they are master of their own rules, and today they are confused about their own rules. Okay, they should live in there and resolve their own confusion. That is good for our democracy. So let them deal with their own confusion. Somebody has gone to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will determine their confusion for them if they cannot resolve it. And I believe that they have the men, they have the capacity. If they make cool heads prevail, Parliament itself can think through these things and resolve it. So I'm very confident in the Parliament that we have, given the experience of the people out there. It's because of the politics that is playing into it. That is what is causing them to make you feel like they are no cool-headed people. On a normal day, if they have to sit down and think through this issue, they can resolve their own problem. Because the people in Parliament, excuse me to say, we have some fine brains there, and we have some fine lawyers there. So they should be able to resolve this confusion. So I'm not going to be worried so much about that. What is important is that the budget, the appropriation stage, which is the most important thing. Just approving the budget policy doesn't mean so much. The sufficiency of it lies in the appropriation, and that is what they are working towards. So for me, that is the meat or the substance of what I want to focus on. As for these procedural issues, they can deal with that later. I don't want to waste so much time on that.
All right, thank you so much for that submission. They were good. Ato, take us home, Ato. I know we're running out of time. We've tabled 3 things for discussion, but I'm sure we are only going to end on this one. We would really maybe just give 1 or 2 comments on the COVID new policy with regards to travel to Ghana as far as vaccination and all that is concerned. But Ato, you've heard everybody from whether Bagbin's pressure and reaction to being insulted by Kevin Taylor was justified, and to the extent that the Minister of Finance have to bring a revised budget to Parliament, and whether that is something we should see happen or whether we should just move on with whatever proposal. There's a comment here. I'm being accused of being biased by Mr. Kasim Abdullahi Dayonga. Hopefully, I got that name correct. Kasim is saying that, Mr. Muzu, you are being biased as a host. Why do you seem to believe so much on what Honorable Afenyo said? It is very possible someone might have insulted him because he said so in Parliament, but you can't believe Honorable Afenyo Marcus simply because he mentioned Kevin Taylor's name and the speaker didn't react. What logic are you propounding? Let us be serious for once, Mr. Muzu. Thanks. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is simple, right? I mean, if it's a fact that our speaker is reacting to an insult from a journalist, and that is impacting his decision making or his ability to participate or continue to supervise over a negotiation, that is serious. That is very serious, and we should look into that. That should be investigated. If he wouldn't come back to challenge that and deny it, then there should be an investigation. We want our speaker to be sound. Imagine that insult alone would do that to him. What else can happen? For instance, if we mount a demonstration against him, what would he do? Would he just vacate his seat? What would happen? That is the question I'm asking. Afenyo may be lying, but if Afenyo is lying, we need a fact. We need somebody to speak to that. Yes,
like
correct.
I said, if you know Gbagben well, this is somebody who, even within his own government, in the NDC government, made his opinion known. He was attacked. He is somebody with a tough skin. So I'm surprised. What do you call it? You are still going
so you are telling me that he's somebody who...
but last time legacy. What Samir Jamfi did to the leadership of Parliament is unprecedented. Show me when you've seen an official of the party descend on leadership in the party like that. Give me one example.
Did Gbagbe respond to that one?
All right, so guys,
why do you expect him to respond to this?
And what Kevin Taylor is also doing? These are all unprecedented. It is because you see the babes with sharp teeth that you guys have trained. You see, they are beginning to bite you guys, and you feeling the pinch.
Okay,
admit it.
Let's get Ato to come in. Ato, this is your question, so go ahead.
Babin responded to Samir Jamfi. This was March 25, 2021. He was speaking to an FM station, and he said that he will not do the bidding of the current NDC. He said recently in the media, on social media in particular, you have heard the blistering attacks of me. I did not play any role apart from presiding. So Biden actually responded to Samir Jamfi. So I don't know what Lifetime is talking about that he would not come and respond. He did respond. He spoke on FM station and he responded. But that is a fact. If you want that information, I can send it to you privately. Or I can send it to WhatsApp platform.
Right.
But I am actually disappointed at the famous constitution in regards to this position of the deputy speaker and the speaker. I mean, there's no clear-cut rule. Because it says that they can have a casting vote. I've forgotten the other kind of votes. They have two kinds of votes. Can you either have a casting vote? I don't know the other one. Somebody help me?
Yeah, you can have he cannot have a casting vote. He cannot have
there's the original vote and the casting vote.
There's the original vote and casting vote, correct.
Yes, so the Constitution did not really make it clear. So that's why I think we should, like I agree with Ifa and Daniel, that we should wait for the
Supreme Court.
But I feel like the premise should have envisaged or preempted that some of these things would happen, considering that leaders can travel or they can be sick and other people can take over. I'm amazed that some people are trying to compare this with the president and vice president. It's like you're comparing apples to oranges. It's like you can go to a court, lose a case, and go to another court and win the case. So what about that? So I'm not all that okay with people trying to say that the president cannot make a decision and someone comes to change it. That's a totally different ballgame. This is talking about the law. So we cannot just come up with other examples and saying, "Oh, A did not do this." B, no. This is the law taking effect. I think the last point you're talking about was the COVID, right? Can I finish that?
Yeah, the COVID. Yeah, let's talk about that briefly too. The COVID, we have a new rules for traveling to Ghana that you have to be vaccinated before you get to Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a Ghanaian citizen traveling from overseas to Ghana and you are not vaccinated, that one will be given to you upon arrival. And people were challenging the fact that mandatory vaccinations cannot be a thing. Apparently, our laws, matter of fact, I don't know if it's the department, the act that brought the Ministry of Health into being or so kind of stated that vaccinations can be given by the government as mandatory, and the citizens have to take them. So what do you say to that? Are you comfortable with the fact that everybody has to be forced to take the vaccination in one way or the other?
I am very uncomfortable with that position, but I don't think it's illegal, or I don't think I think we're in the pandemic and we've seen the number of people, mortality rates and the mobility rates in the country. So you can expect that the government is really concerned about what is going on. But
Okay.
I would wish that, like South Africa has said, that they're not going to mandate people to take the vaccine, but they're going to encourage people. So I think that the best way to do it is encourage people rather than mandate people to take the vaccines.
Right.
Like, again, I can really understand the public health implications.
Yeah.
People are dying. We have record number of people dying. Record number of people, and it affects the economy. Like I was saying, it really affected the economy. So
Right.
I don't think there's really a really good answer to this. The government is being appropriate in saying this, but personally, I don't think that there should be a really clear-cut mandate on that. But I can understand why the government is doing this. We have mortality rates increasing, we have mobility rates, and it's affecting every aspect of our economy. And if everyone has vaccinated, this Omicron virus.
But this is at a time when the vaccines, it's not clear what the vaccines are doing, right? One time they tell you, oh, this vaccine is gonna prevent you from catching the disease. Then
as a healthcare provider, I can understand. I mean, this is a novel virus, and we have vaccines. And I mean, you can think about this this way. I mean, the vaccines, you get the vaccines in 6 months' time. You need to, just like the flu vaccines. Right now, we don't have any drug to take care of COVID. So I would rather encourage people to take the vaccines. I mean, I think that the benefits outweighs the risk of vaccines. And like I said, people are dying, so we should have to take this seriously. And I would encourage everyone here to please take the vaccine as soon as you can and when possible. So, like I said, I personally would not think that mandating would be a really good idea. But then, like I said, people are dying. The government is really worried that it's affecting the economy. It's affecting every one of us. So I wouldn't fault them for doing that.
Okay, great. So do you want to add your last word for us? And then, I'll pass it on to Paul DeSoso after that, so he can also wrap it up. Paul, I'm bringing when I get to Paul, I'll tell him. So yes, your last word.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the opportunity as always. And thank you very much to my co-panelists. It's always a pleasure, and sometimes it gets really heated. I'm hoping that we end this year on a really good note.
Right.
Thanks for our viewers, especially to my elder brother, Dr. Atukam Nabeidu. I think he can always replace me whenever possible. He has really good ideas. So, Doctor, all the best to you. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Ato, and for Ato Beidu, who's also been contributing fiercely on our comment sessions. We really appreciate him for joining us today. Let me go to Paul. Paul, you had asked me to bring this, what do you call it? Appendix, so you can show the e-levy. And there it is, actually, line 42. It says e-levy. And what else does it say? And it's earmarking 9,939,000 cedis to be spent for e-levy services. Paul, what were you gonna? So basically, you're trying to vindicate yourself to say this is where you are getting the numbers from, and it's not the money that was budgeted for the entire GRA, but this is specifically e-levy. Is that correct, Paul? And then if you can talk to me about the what do you call it? The vaccination mandate as well. And your last words.
Sure, Alfred, thank you very much. That is exactly what I was trying to make, the case I was trying to make. I don't see anywhere in that document telling me that those transaction levy services is the entire GRA of Ghana. I mean, means of collecting taxes or hiring people to collect taxes on behalf of the government. So that's what I was trying to make. That's the case I was trying to make. As I move on, I think with this backbone issue, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we have taken this issue and we are just because Baghdad have not spoken, we are trying to adduce the fact that it might be true.
Right.
Baghdad just arrived in the country on Wednesday night. Thursday was the first day he sat as a member, as the Speaker of the Parliament.
Right.
He didn't have to be leaving and coming in and all the stuff. You cannot conclude and say because he hasn't spoken as we speak, so therefore it is true the allegation that was made by Apenyo Markin.
Right.
For me, Apenyo Markin is somebody I'll never trust because he is the same person who took a picture from Sierra Leone and posted saying that those are my brothers and sisters from my hometown, Kita, doing sun winning. So such a person, I'll never give credit to whatever he says. As may as it is, look, we are all human beings, and as human beings as you are, whether I like it or not, social emotion, whether I like it or not.
Right.
You cannot conclude and say because of that allegation was making, or because of whatever we have said, it is true, and let's take it as such. As I move on, sorry about this. My little boy is not feeling well. He's on me.
Yes, so we can hear him in the background, but sorry about that. No problem.
As I've said that, I want to move on and make this. Submission on the COVID vaccine.
Right.
Well, for me, COVID is something that we all need to control. Nobody know the effects, and nobody know how you're going to get it because it's not something you should take as a joke.
Right.
Okay. The question that arises is the Ghana government that was putting restrictions in place saying that if you are not vaccinated, don't come to the country. Or if you're a Guardian and you get to the airport, you'll be vaccinated over there and all those stuff. You cannot force people and vaccinate people at their own will.
But our law says, as I was reminded by Atoko Minabedu, who says that the law is the public health law. That law says, on our book, it says that our government can mandate vaccines.
Mr. Amuzu, it's on the public law that every child should be given polio immunization. It's not every child who takes the polio immunization. That is why I know even in the US, the Supreme Court over here is trying to make a decision whereby some companies are insisting that, you have to be vaccinated, if not so you have to, stay home and all those things. This issue has gone to court. So we leave it for the court to decide. And for me, if vaccine is the way to bring safety to our people, I'm not against vaccine. I've taken the 2 shots. I'm about to take my booster shot. I am saying that you can't force people to do what they are not ready to do. The best thing for the government to do is to cooperate, to speak, to collaborate, to try to reason with the people, to let them know why they want to do that. And as we say that Christmas is coming, people are going to gather. The virus or the variant is going to, move higher. The numbers are going to increase. So they should find ways and means to mitigate it. That's why I'm going to leave it. And for my closing statement, I'll leave this word over here and say that democracy is meant for people to share their views and opinion. As made that it is, it does not mean that if somebody shares his opinion or view, you come and post the concept and you think it's irrelevant. People should respect people's view because what you think you are posting, you think you are making sense, can be trash in the ear of another person. As a Democrat, you respect people's opinions, people's view. If somebody says something that you think you don't agree to it, come with your counter argument with supporting evidence. You don't just come and post the trash or concert or whatever. Let me borrow the words of Daniel, concert party. I am saying that democracy is tolerance. He should learn how to tolerate people. He should learn because people tolerate his view. I also state over here that it's not all the things he comes to post on platform or says that things make sense to a lot of us. We will not come out and then say or use the word.
Don't bash Daniel. Leave him alone.
No, it's not bashing. Let's set the record straight. Because he goes after people. He thinks he's the only one who knows it. Mr. Know-all.
No,
anything
don't do
that
that.
people say is trash and concept in his ears. I am saying that he should respect people's opinion because me, for instance, for Paul Delali the social, I will always come after him if he goes after even Ifa or anybody goes after, I'll come after him because we should respect people's opinion. If you have any kind of opinion, present your case with your evidence and other opinion and leave it. You don't judge and tell people's post or put on people's posts that they are posting consent. Thank you.
Okay, Paul, I'm going to read something here for you very quickly, and this is coming from the Public Health Act, Act 851. Let me see if I could share that before I read it out. But what it's saying essentially is that we can do compulsory vaccinations. Where I've highlighted, it says compulsory vaccination. It says,
Mr. Amuzo, I understand what you are coming to read. But before you can put this thing, you have to enact a law.
Yeah, it's
Hot
a constitutional
instrument. Hot constitutional instrument is guiding this law, this compulsory vaccine that if you don't have it, you cannot enter the country.
Yeah,
it's a constitutional instrument that's backing it. Unless maybe I'm not, if it is there, maybe if I can correct me, I'll be ready to accept it. But so far as I'm concerned, there is not any constitutional instrument backing this decision they've taken. If they want to take this decision, they should do the right thing. Go to the right process and then put a legislation on it, back it to the constitutional instrument so that we know that you are working according to the law. I am not saying it is not there. I am saying that until you do that, you cannot force people to do what they are not ready to do. Thank you.
Okay. So just so I can, get people who are watching to also see the language quickly. It says the minister may, by executive instrument, generally or with reference to a particular district, area, or place, or with respect to a particular class or classes of persons, order the person to whom the instrument applies who do not produce satisfactory evidence of successful vaccination to be vaccinated by a public vaccinator, unless in the opinion of the public vaccinator, the vaccination would be injurious to health. So there you have it.
Mr. Amuzu, there you go. There is not any EI. I'm saying
there's already an EI. Please, you're just throwing dust into
what is the EI?
They haven't released
the president.
Oh, please. Please.
That's it. I don't know what that's
is the EI. Give it to us. Tell us what is the EI.
Instrument. The president can give an order. That's an instrument.
No. Don't understand what is going on at all. Yeah. There is no an executive instrument issued to mandate people to be vaccinated at all costs before you get into the country. That is what I am talking about. Please check the facts.
Who gives the instrument? Who gives the order?
The order can be given by the minister or the president. And I'm asking,
giving that order. I'm telling you that
when you give the order, you need to go to parliament. If you give the order, you need to go to parliament. Have you taken any order to the parliament of Ghana? Have you taken the parliament of Ghana? Don't throw that into the eyes of the people, rather. Have you taken any instrument to the people of the parliament of Ghana for them to pass as a law? I am asking you. Answer me yes or no. Simple answer.
No, what you're saying is that the president has not done anything about this. The minister is just talking about this. And I'm saying that the president has given an order. About, can you please put back?
Is there any executive instrument, a law backing it? Simple question, yes or no?
But you are saying that it's not even possible with the law. You can't even do that. That's what you're saying.
I never said that.
Okay.
I said the record straight. I never said that. I am saying that until this thing can be made a law, you have to bring a law to back it. If you back it with a law, I can choose not to do it. You cannot do anything to me. That is my fundamental human right. That is my fundamental human
rights.
rights.
The law is not possible.
Okay, no, Uncle,
right, so you know that it's
Alfred,
yeah,
let's see the record straight. I don't want Atu to live here with throwing dust into our eyes. I am saying he should cut the executive instrument, the EI.
We don't currently have an EI. Maybe it's in the works.
He should admit that he was wrong. He should admit it.
My understanding is the EI is in the works. The president just came and gave the
update. They are not working on it.
He is saying that even with the law, you cannot mandate people to do it. That's my issue.
Yes, The law says that even with the law, you have to go for EI. Even when the EI is in place, and the person, you need to determine whether the person, you can't just get up and give the person vaccine. You have to look at the underlying conditions of the person medical background.
Religious culture.
You have to take into a lot of things in consideration. Most especially if the person self-immunity can fight and the person decided that not to take it. You can't force it.
The person can decide not to take it. Come on, this is the law says you give it to the person. If the vaccinator think you should get it, you're gonna get it.
Anyway. Paul, before you read that portion you just highlighted, I want you to read about.
Please, it's Alfred.
It's make it very, very clear that even when you have the EI in place, okay, when the person decided that.
So read what? Tell me what you want me to read so I can read it.
Is that to tell you what to read?
Yeah, you said read some portion of the law.
Yeah, I'm saying that even right there, right in that EI, the law says that before you give a compulsory vaccination, you must underline whether the person is a threat to the community.
No, please. He just put it there. He doesn't talk about.
All right, so let's move on.
No, we can't move on like this. The law
is agree with that. They don't think you can mandate people even with the law. That's my problem.
Yeah, that even with the law, there is an exemption. If the person feels that his personal immunity can fight it.
No, please. It doesn't say that.
No, the immunity determination is by the vaccinator. It's not by the person. Anyway, I see you speaking in the background, but your mic is off. Can you come in and tell us your last words?
No, look at me. Oh, my goodness.
That's a really good thing.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn. Please give us your last words.
Mr. Musa, I didn't finish talking, and then he interjected me.
Okay.
There you go. So to conclude it, I just want to leave on this note that my good brother Ifa, this tomorrow, I know they will be tomorrow. No, tomorrow they'll be in Kumasi. So Monday they'll be calling them and be giving them the highlight point from the flash from the Jubilee House.
Right. No, we don't do that. It's only Cuckoo Hill.
I beg him. He should be truthful to themselves, and I wish them all the best in their Congress. Even though it is just there to waste money, we wish them all the best. Democracy should be the key. I wish them I'm not like other people who will be condemning everything. I wish them the best. They should enjoy their Congress in Kumasi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure Daniel is excited about that, even though, today you've been really hard on him. So you've heard everything today. What have you learned from this discussion, if anything? And then what are your last words for us? Should we be taking this vaccination and making it mandatory? And then, of course, what do we expect from Kumasi?
Okay, thank you very much. So the whole discussion today is healthy, okay? The punches and all that is healthy. Even though Paul has been taking on Daniel too much, I'll speak to him behind the scene. And then I'm
taking him on,
and I also know that Paul. We'll talk. Me and you, dear, we'll talk. And I'll give it to you behind the scene. You know, they are certain.
Yeah. You think he knows? He should stop doing that too knowing, and he's going to be fine with me.
Okay, I will even address that. So today I'm making a general statement. So Paul has been taking certain things personally. It's not, but it's been healthy. You feel this way, you say it, and we go. And then I like it when somebody not as say the host is biased. It's all good. Oh, there was I think 2 weeks ago somebody said Kakape is insensitive, but it's all good. you recoil, and then you come back, and all is good. Nobody takes it personal. That is, all these things are part of our life. Sometimes you may not know that you were going off, or you have a strong point, you hammer on it and all that. So it's all good. Now, lifetime legacy. If somebody has made a statement and something happened not to be the case, and then he accepts it, that's perfectly okay. You know, when Mahama met the diplomats, he presented videos that were not true. You know, that doesn't mean that everything that Mahama says is, we should take it off the table. So let us take it like that. Now, I say sometimes A+ said, when you meet a confident person, then they say he's arrogant, he's too known. No, we're confident. We know what we are saying.
So what do you start to address?
You
only made a comment without.
Let him go. Let him go. Lifetime legacy. Let him go.
We in MPP, you know, if you take this 8th Parliament, we are getting bullied. The arrogant posture is coming from the opposition. It's not coming from us. We've been humble, presenting.
I mean, if you propose a 1.75% charge on citizens, of course somebody's going to have to speak on behalf of.
There's nothing wrong with speaking, but you don't go pull the speaker. You don't go pull the speaker chair and want to punch. Who is arrogant in that sense?
It's funny that
nobody. And then during the debate, hold on. During the debate, did you hear Bagwin telling somebody shut up? Did you hear? You heard that, right?
Well, he's a speaker. He can tell you to gag. He can gag you down.
Exactly. But we shouldn't go to that extent. And who are those people who were telling shut up? We know where he was going and where he was coming from. You know. So the posture has come from the opposition, not from the government.
But are you not worried that
speaker rule so that we can go speak? I don't want to.
Okay. Are you not worried that no parliamentarian from the MPP side found a single thing wrong with the e-levy? Doesn't that bother you?
So there was a lot of discussion that went on, right? And when we are discussing these things, my opinion may not be the same as yours, right? Right. We are in government, we see the vision, and we are presenting. That was why when Haruna was briefed, what did he say? You know, when I'm ready to accept 1%, else the economy and blah 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 will go. You know, so maybe some people are privy to more information or have better understanding of it in whatever way and stuff like that, and they may be speaking from maybe economics and financial background and understands it and push it out there. You may have a different background. For all you know, you just looking at people's complaint and you come there and push it out there, right? So that is how it ought is. And as a government, we owe it a duty on the parliamentarians to make sure that the government succeed. So it is our duty to ensure that. So the question of they agree, they oppose is neither here or there. You know, you want the government to succeed, and we all believe. We believe that this will help. But others are saying it will bring hardship and stuff like that. And those things are all that. So the posturing should be coming down on the part. We are making the argument and the reasons and stuff like that. And that is the counter argument we want to see on that. Not punches and stuff like that. So now, as we speak, right, budget is part, appropriation is ongoing. You know, the finance minister said that any other stuff can be taken care of at the committee stage, you know. So like the finance committee can consider the e-levy and propose an amount if this one is not. So as we go, you know, they keep approving stuff and we keep going and we keep going. Put your input before anything go the other way or whatever it is that is going to happen. Now, so last but not the least, I don't even want Daniel to take it out. Say, Paul has been taking on Daniel today for whatever reason, I don't know. And
your picture is missing. Bring your face so we can see that part.
Oh, sorry. And for me here, as a deputy director of communication, today I have listened to Daniel, whatever he has said. Paul is taking him on. I don't even understand where Paul is coming from, because all that Daniel is saying is, you know, his take on this issue, his take on that issue. Now, when Paul had the opportunity to talk, right, you know, He was talking about this government did, that government did, we are doing this, we are doing. Most of them not true. Okay? So me standing here, what do you want me to view you? You know, but that is how you feel.
What did I say that is not true? What did I say that is not true? Let me know.
Okay, so that is my view, and that is
No,
that is how the whole thing points. Now, finally,
if he said Foriata was making money, 240 million, it was Foriata's money.
Exactly. There's no Foriata company in there and all that. Most of these things are life and that. But having said that, right? Having said that, with regards to the vaccines, right? The government is not doing a compulsory vaccination in the country. He's just encouraging people to go take it. It's going to help you and stuff like that. Now,
airports when you
exactly. There are countries. There are countries. They say don't come in. Okay, countries have said don't even come here. Stay where you are. Ghana is saying if you want to come in, this and this and this. Today I dropped 3 people at the airport. Okay, friends, they asked me to take them there. We went. Okay, are you vaccinated? Are you this and that? Are you in touch with? Yes, you got to do it. That is what the government feels right now. Now, the problem we are doing is that the COVID-19 committee that was set up by the NDC, they should listen to Dr. Buamat and all that. If they are the ones feeding Sami Jemfi, sometimes, you see, the truth of the matter is we all don't understand this virus. And I think on the platform, I've had discussion with Dr. Ato. Some things don't make sense to us reasonably. Okay, but from a medical point of view, Dr. Ato understands it different than I do. Only Dr. Buama understands it different than I do. And, you know, the epidemiologists and blah, 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 and all these people over the years, this is not the first time we deal with such an issue. It's been dealt with in the past. They follow a pattern, and that's how they were able to conquer it. There is a procedure to administer emergency vaccines. Have we breached it? The issue is not whether it's working or not. We got to do something. In the midst of emergency and all the, we have to do, we cannot just sit down. And that is what all government and everybody is doing. And so far, something has been working. Somehow, how, we don't know. Okay? So, in the course of doing it, please, let professionals handle this. How are we going to feel when there's a cyber attack and doctors are talking? When there's a cyber attack, doctors talking? What do you know about cyber attack? Okay, so we should allow the professional. They are doctors in NDC. Why are they not the ones leading the discussion? And sometimes you don't have to have opinion just because we have the platform. If you don't know, you don't know. Okay, if it's not your field, it's not your field. And let us stop propaganda and let us allow the doctors to do the job so that we can overcome this virus.
We are not claiming to be professionals. We are using our limited.
All you said are lies.
We are using our limited knowledge and experience with, you know, how things should be done. And we are saying that should it be that people, because if you're asking Ghanaians who are returning from overseas to be compulsorily vaccinated, doesn't that create inequality issues? Because you're not asking Ghanaians in Ghana to do the same.
Yeah, but you see, let us not forget that our COVID-19 increase in numbers have been from the airport. That is fact. There is a lot of people that brought it from outside. In fact, I mean, the COVID-19 it was imported into the country. It wasn't internally generated, right? So, an effective.
If I please include your president, he's part of it. He also brought the COVID, so include him.
Even if it is from the president, right? He brought it from outside. He wasn't inside and got it. Okay.
So I'm happy that you agreed that he brought it. Thank you.
Propaganda, you do. Let them address the issue and fix it. So you see, the airport has become a major, flat point. So government ought to make a decision, and this is a decision government have made. This is better than saying don't come in. Come in, but take the vaccine. People have objections, and we all can have the debate. But in the meantime, this is what government is going for. I wish that there can be, each time prove that you don't have it. But unfortunately, they didn't go for that. Okay? So let us sometimes respect some of these things because some places, borders have been closed, some countries have been banned and all these kind of stuff. Okay? So let us find a way and continue the discussion. We are not saying let us not discuss, let us continue the discussion. But to push and, try to muscle out, I mean, that one. Other than that, I've enjoyed this, and after that, I am going to have a banter with Paul behind the scene. Last time, legacy, everybody, Dr. Ato, Daniel, greetings, and I think this is our last time. Well, Merry Christmas, and today I'm going to dance my head off.
Yep, because
today I'm going to dance my head off. I'm even late. You know, I would definitely go up and dance.
The Brother Hafo Association of North America.
Oh yeah, I will share videos to you guys.
Yeah, I'm not going to say hello to. I'm not going to greet me. You greet everybody. You didn't call my name.
I said I'm going to call you. We have a banter. Paul Gisosu.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so if you are listening to us or watching us,
thank you. God bless you.
The place to be is the Brong and Hafo Association of Chicago. They are having a Christmas party tonight, and so is my people for the Airway Association of Chicago as well. They're also having a Christmas party. So if you're in Chicago, it's party all day. I know Ato is going to be there. He's taking good pictures for us, so we should expect to see some celebration. Ato, you are going, right?
Yes, I'll be there to take pictures of the fun. I'll post it on the platform for sure.
For sure. Thank you so much for that.
So Alfred, we are not meeting next week, right?
No, we are not doing next week, and then I think the next time will come maybe in January. Because
okay, no problem.
Saturday is the 1st of January, and you don't want to be here, right?
Okay, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Right.
And I pray that next year when we come back, Dr. Ato will be neutral as he wants. He claims he wants. He is.
Thank you. Be neutral, and I'm going to fire you next year for sure. I'm going to for sure.
Yeah, so we'll be back next year on the 8th, and then I think at that time we'll do a review of 2021, and if there are any other pertinent and impactful issues, we'll take them on at that time. But at this time, let me move to Lifetime Legacy to give me your last words, vaccinations, etc. But keep it quick so we can get out of here.
Alfred, thank you.
Yeah.
A year ago by now, I got COVID.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, by then I was preparing. I didn't know. So I went to take the test so that I'll travel to Ghana before I was told that I had a COVID. So I'm unable to do this thing. So I have to be in the room for about 2 weeks later before I went again, and I was told it's gone without taking any medication. I think I was only taking my ginger and lemon as I do normally, just to calm my pressure down.
You sure you were not taking Percocet or something hot?
I mean, like that, like I said, ginger and those things. Those are, normally within the system is come with a lot of stress.
Right.
So periodically, I drink ginger in the morning. Okay, when you add a little honey, but when you drink it, it's very, very refreshing. When you do it in place of your Milo and in place of your Leptin, when you use ginger in the morning, you just blend it in the blender, put it in the microwave for about 3 minutes. When it gets hot, you add your honey, you add your. I am a vegetarian, so I like soya milk. You add it to it, you go, and it's very, very healthy.
Right.
You get it. So that is how let me say I got rid of it. So now I'm yet to take the vaccine. I haven't taken the vaccine, but I think it's very problematic that our country will make it mandatory that people who are coming in after having gone through the PCR test and antigen test at the airport have to still be forced to take the vaccine. Other countries, that's not what they are doing. America, for instance, if you are a citizen and you are coming to the country, you are not forced to take vaccine before you come into the country. Even if you are a green card holder, like myself, you are not forced to come into the country before when you should be vaccinated before you come into the country. So I don't expect that to be done to our citizens. And one other thing also is that if you are not a Ghanaian and you are leaving Ghana you are compelled to vaccinate, which I think.
No, I mean, they're not doing it to non-Ghanaians, right? You're expected to, if you're not a Ghanaian, you're expected to have be vaccinated before you come into the country. Now, if you're leaving the country and you're not a Ghanaian, you shouldn't be. I mean,
well, but that's what from what I've heard, if it is
said,
true.
Okay,
that's what's going on.
I didn't hear that one, but
okay.
sure.
So I don't think people. There are a lot of opinion as far as this vaccine is concerned. So I want people to do their own judgment as far as whether they'll take it or not. Look at something very interesting here. The state that I live in, Indiana, have a population of approximately 6.8 million. Approximately 6.8 million population. Right now, I check the data. Close to 19,000 people died through COVID. I mean, the death they have recorded as at today. Okay. Ghana, a population of 30.8 million. The death we have recorded is a little over 1,000. I think it's less than 1,200.
Yeah, so like Dr. Atto commented that Beidou is saying here, Ghana has actually been refreshingly innovative in how they've handled this pandemic. They've pioneered a number of policies which were later copied by other countries. I respect the public health team power.
So I will attribute our low recovery in terms of cases in Ghana, not anything extraordinary done by
high recovery or low recovery, because we had
the low recovery in Ghana. I will not attribute it to the perfect work done by the system, but it's when you look at naturally our way.
You are saying we have a low recovery rate?
Yes,
we have more than 99% recovery rate.
No, so I am comparing it to. I'm comparing the what do you call it, two situations here. Indiana, where I live, have a population approximately 6.8 million. Okay, Ghana with a population of 30.8 million. Now, Indiana death have recorded approximately 19,000.
And we have recorded about 1,009.
Okay, 1,009.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's even go by that way. When you look at it, you expect, when you look at in terms of the numbers, we should have more fatality in Ghana vis-a-vis the number. Listen, you get it. So I'm saying that it is not anything extraordinary that the system have put in place that is giving us the low death.
Yes, you mentioned recovery rate first, which was wrong. You were meant to say death rate. So let's move on.
Yes. So it is by virtue of, I will attribute it to by virtue of our lifestyle, way of living, the kind of things we eat, the kind of things we drink, and the environment that we have as Ghanaians. That is also playing to our advantage.
Right.
You get it? Because when you talk of socialization, every weekend in Ghana, things that people do, we don't do them here. You get it? How often do you visit a friend? How often do you congregate at a place? How often do we even...
so they do a lot more socializing in Ghana than we do here.
Precisely. So it is because our environment, our way of lifestyle, our way of eating, the kind of things we eat, the kind of things we drink, that is giving us the low mortality. That is what I want to.
So you don't think is the squeeze, the closure of the borders, the airports testing regime that we've instituted? You don't think it's part of that and then the testing regime that we have, where we've tested about how many millions so far? You don't think that is contributed to our low rate of infection and death rate?
It is.
Let me. You see, somewhere last year I did a research. I was towards one of my classes. I was to do a presentation. I did a research. Then look at one of the way that I think coverage spread so easily in the western part of the world, including America. It's we don't have those things in place in Ghana.
Like what?
Okay. Now, when you and I goes to the gas station here, we feel that we dispense ourselves. You get it? Those are the breeding points. That is one of the breeding points. Number two, people are buying food, and you have a dashboard, people delivering the food to the people right in their home. People who are handling the food before it gets to the person, how the person who is receiving the food and consuming it without taking those precautions. You see, those are the breeding grounds.
You
But
think
when you look at
the way we buy food here is worse than it's worse than the chow bars in Ghana?
Oh, you see, you and I will agree that when you go to Choba in Ghana, for instance, the food is on the what do you call it, in the saucepan, right? What do you call it, on the fire?
Yeah,
you get it. You take it from your.
so the heat kind
you
of
get it. You take it direct. But over here, for instance, you go and buy a pizza. The person who is handling the pizza, the way look the package, and the person who is receiving it. You see, those are all breeding grounds. And we don't have those regime.
Okay,
you get it. So I don't, not to bore the entire discussion. I am of opinion that people should be allowed to take the vaccine voluntarily. It shouldn't be made mandatory. Because, for instance, the environment we live in, my grandmother in Atoko, my grandmother in Jelukope, the kind of things they eat, the kind of things they drink, it's that alone fortify the immune system. So adding more artificial immune booster cannot overweigh the natural boost of the immune system. So that is what but I'm notwithstanding, I will not say that nobody should take the vaccine. I will encourage people who think they want to take it, but it should not be mandatory. That is my opinion as far as it is concerned. I wish the MPP Congress well, and also wish my brothers here a happy new year in advance. The good luck would continue to grant us life, so that a year by now we'll continue to be here as brothers and share our opinions towards the development of our country.
Thank you so much, Lifetime Legacy, and thanks for joining the show today. Daniel, you have said that the COVID is devastating our economy, impacting a lot of things, and it need to be dealt with. And one of the ways the government wants to deal with that is to mandate vaccinations. I'm sure when that EI actually is released, there may be a component of it that mandates vaccination for at least all the government workers at the minimum. Because we know vaccine has.
Alfred, I want to sign out so that I get myself organized to go to work.
Sure, you good to go. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think on the latter side, Ghana government is always using COVID as an excuse just to milk the citizenry. If they have borrowed 2-point-something billion and it's not enough for them, what will the e-levy 8 billion do? Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so then. Yeah, in that context, you identified, the fact that we suffering a lot from the COVID, and we need to. So I'm saying that I'll be surprised if there is no mandate for government employees, as we've seen here in the United States, where all government employees are mandated to take the vaccine. Even government contractors, for you to come on a government facility, you have to have the vaccine. Would that be something you are comfortable with?
Yeah, I think that I want to take it in two parts. I want to take it from the part of, without a constitution, the sovereignty of a government and what a government can do within a territory. Government can impose rules on it, people in emergency situation, right? So from that angle, yes. But from that angle, I think that because of the public safety nature of it, government can go ahead and require everybody to do it. You can decide to say you won't do it, but government can set a precondition for accessing its service, right? And that will force you into some corner. Even here, in America, when that was the case, some people are still resisting it, and now it's in the courts, kind of. That is the constitutional angle to it. What Sammy Jemfi sought to do with the argument that he made, I thought he had some strong points, even though I don't like they always say you are doing now so you get what I'm trying to say. I thought he had some strong point, but I didn't think say you get what I'm trying to say. And I really enjoyed the position that he was canvassing, because he wasn't just talking from nowhere. He produced research materials from some of the best, whatever so
medical journals,
medical group, and he was speaking to that data and that fact. So in the context of that, his argument was premised on something. It wasn't premised on nothing. It wasn't premised on the fact that he's not, like, I disagree with Ifa saying he's not a medical doctor. No, he wasn't a medical doctor, but he got the report of the medical doctor and he was reading from that report. And I mean, it was English that was written there, right? It wasn't medical jargons alone that was put out there. So based on what he was saying,
so his position is that the vaccine and all those, the vaccine hasn't been proven to be effective.
To some extent, based on the data, you see, he was using what I call, I don't know, in statistics they call it triangulation, right? Based on what we are told and the reality of what the vaccine has done, and then the counterintuitive, efficacy of the vaccine. I think he was using Israel as an example, right? That how come Israel has about 80 or 90% of people, what do you call it, vaccinated, and yet they are still seeing rise. COVID people who have been vaccinated are still having
rising.
Right. But then the argument I would have, if I was on that show with him, would be that, well, these are different variants of a virus. It's not the same virus.
Yeah, but if you look at, the thing is, they've hyped up the vaccine so much from the beginning that you take it, the two, and then you'll be good for 99%. They give you this percentage.
Yeah, but no vaccine is 100%, right? We know that, right?
But Alfred, the data supports that argument.
So the data to support that argument.
I don't know what we're being now.
Yeah,
exactly.
But immunity doesn't last long.
Yeah, no one.
So we agreed.
No one said it gave you life.
No one said that.
No.
So that is you setting your own question and answering it, right? So Sami Jemfi's point, to some extent, yes, from that research material, he wasn't speaking from his own head. He was speaking from a research material. But you have to be careful when you take research material, because this is one publication. Do we know about other publications?
There are other
publications. And that is why when you do your thesis, you do your PhD, you do literature review, you have contending issues on the same subject matter theory.
And him as a lawyer, of course, he knows that,
so when you're looking at research material, you have to be very careful. Don't just go and pick one literature review that favors your argument and you drive it. Yes, in the context of just that one piece, I'll agree with you. But then there's counter research that also shows that the other side of the coin is also true. So it's a balancing act. You have to put all the different research.
But it wouldn't be for him to actually be proffering the other side of the argument, right? Let other people do that.
This is what I say. So when Sami Jefi beat me and I challenge you, Paul will say I'm being arrogant to him. But he was making some serious point there, right? That wasn't consent. Paul, if I use the word consent on the platform and that offended you, I apologize. But I don't mean to demean your views or demean anybody's views. No, I like to be challenged on my views. So that is perfectly well with me. But if in that context you felt very offended, I'm sorry. It's never my nature to.
Yeah, Paul is not taking it personal. He's just today he said Daniel is going down. So
it's never my nature to disrespect anybody. I respect Paul a lot. I mean, he's my senior brother. I cannot, but in the heat of the argument, that is fine. If anything I did really hurt him, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Call him behind the scene and
it's not meant to offend anybody. So yes. So I think that Sami Jemfi, he also put a caveat there. He said he's not against anybody who willingly wants to offer himself to go and vaccinate. But his problem was that based on the order that was released by the Ghana Medical Association, it didn't make exceptions, right? And he knows that this vaccine affects people with some health, a chronic health condition. And therefore, if you're putting a public, and I thought that was a good point, make exception and at least don't make it look like if somebody had some chronic disease and the vaccine will impact him negatively, the person knows that it will impact him negatively, you still force him to go and take it. That is not a reasonable approach. So I think that was helpful. And then he said, you know what? I don't believe, based on my reading of this research material, I am convinced by the information in this research material, and I want to go by it, regardless of whatever other research material you know. But what I have read, I want to go by. Don't force me. Let people willingly do. But if you want to go and do it, go and do it. I won't stop anybody from going to vaccinate. So he didn't put a blanket statement out there and said, let nobody go and do what?
Vaccinate.
Yeah. So, being fair to the fact and being fair to him, this was his point. And I think from a personal perspective, now I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that, like you said, me giving the evidence of what I've seen, I think that the vaccines do work. And I know that vaccines are not 100%, going to protect you. But they provide some, immune, to fight. Like, so it's like risk management. You are trying to manage a risk. You can't eliminate the risk in this case. We are not eliminating it. We are trying to manage, the risk so that we are not in this, we are not overwhelmed by the impact of an emergency like this and a situation like this. And then the other thing too I want to add is that the research material that Samiji enforced, if I was, what do you call it, OB, I would have asked him that, well, when you say they are getting new infection, we are beginning to see new viral, right? The virus mutates, we are told. Something that mutates, the fact that you had one, who knows whether the second one you had is of the same, what they call it, say the genotype or whatever they call it, that gene sequencing. Who knows? They might not be the same, they might be similar. So if they are similar, that could tilt the way the vaccine, reacts to that. And so it's not surprising that even the people who get reinfection, they don't get severe reinfection.
Right.
So that should tell you something, right? That means that the impact, there's a moderating impact of the vaccine. Because I'm not being told that they get severe infection. We are being told that, yes, they get infection, but it's not as severe if the vaccine was not there. When the vaccine was not there, we all knew the nature of the infection, right?
Right.
So we should be mindful when we take research materials and not just ride with one article or one. Yes, that article could have seen something counter. And think about it. In research, we have 95% confidence interval. We are 95% confident that at all times something will, but it means that there's some 5% error that could happen. If you say something is 95% likely to happen, it doesn't mean that once in a while you won't have the other error 5% happen. You could have one in a while, those who slip through it. But we should understand it in that context. Nobody said it's 100% immunity. Nobody ever said that. As far as I've listened to all the vaccine experts or all the news around this vaccine. So I'll say the Ghanaian people, hey, you have managed yourself so well. At least the management process have not ensured that you guys have not, you saw early that this virus was coming from outside. You took measures, appropriate measures to do it. If the vaccine is there and it's available and it is not going to have any impact on your life, please go out there and have it. After all, we all have had it. Have we died? Has anything changed? So why will you, want to put yourself in the risk that we all know exists out there, that if you are not vaccinated, your chances of dying, we are not saying, look at the words they use. Your chances of dying, they will say, are 13 times, 14 times. That doesn't mean that 14 times will apply to everybody. But in general, the chances of dying will be 13 times. But there are some people whose chance of dying can be 1. But they are using an average. You see how they use these terms to summarize the generality of how these things work. When they say 13 times likely to die, it doesn't mean that everybody, that will be applicable to everybody. But generally, that's what is going on. Some people, it can just take you 1 chance and you will die, right? You might not have that 13 chance applicable in your specific case, depending on the nuances and the specificity of your particular, infection. So I think that I believe in the vaccine. I think they've worked, and I think that, everybody should get it. And now that we have a lot of them out there, people should go and get it. It saves everybody's life. But the other thing too is that if 80% of Ghanaians decide to go and have it and the 20% doesn't have it, I will say that risk is not too much of a concern, right? Because at that point, the 80% could provide some good, what you call herd immunity in that sense, right? So you, the 20%, you will be putting yourself at risk to a very large extent. So as far as many people are going to have it, I'm not really bothered. Some people, no matter what they do, but based on religious ground, they will never go for it. But if they are in the minority, 5%, 10%, we can live with that and move on.
Okay, cool. What about your party going to Kumasi? Any word you want to say about that first?
I want to see.
I hear you guys are trying to incorporate all your CEOs, DCs, former MPs all into the what do you call it? Your committee that does the nomination and election.
Electoral college.
You see, I think that we have to be careful when we're doing constitutional amendment. You see, when you're in government and you are doing this amendment, they look nice,
right?
Because you can afford the logistics of organizing conferences, the logistics of putting these things together. Right. When you're in opposition, and it's hard to raise money, that is where you begin to see how these laws begin to bite. So we have to have a balance.
And it looks like you have an election. This is an election time. You know the incumbent is not running, and you're changing the rules right before the next election.
So yes, so I would say we should be cautious and assuming that we were in opposition for some of the rules, as not all of them. Some of the rules are only to be changed when you are in government, because that is when the reality of the situation you are facing. But for some of them, we should assume that if we're in opposition, how would that play out for us? Are we going to have the capacity, the logistical ability to see through all those rules? But for some, that requires, especially, let me be more specific here, the one that says that if we're in government, like in this instance where we have Akufo-Addo living, you know, that doesn't happen often, right? Once in the blue moon, that will happen, where Akufo-Addo is going to leave and we have to find a replacement for a candidate for 2024. That is a unique or a real situation that will come up, but not more often. In that situation, some people are proposing we have 2 years, some people are proposing 1.5 years, we should go and elect a flag bearer. I would say you can even go and put, or they say 6 months there. If the party structure is not strong, it doesn't matter what time frame you put on that thing, it will still come back and hit you.
Yeah, interestingly, your party has a maximum of 5 candidates. So what that means is if there are more than 5 candidates, there has to be some wise men behind the scene that would, you know, whittle that list down to 5. So it's problematic if you're going to have the nomination, the flag bearer elected close to the general election. Because what that means is if there are more than 10 people, when is that conversation going to occur to cut that number down to 5? And then how is, you know, that uncertainty that comes with someone who's trying to run.
Yeah, so it's part of what we call the managing the process, because you have to manage these things. If you don't manage these things, it doesn't matter all the good work you have done. They could spill over and you could lose an election just because you fail to manage this process. So there's a risk there, right? Execution. The risk of executing these processes and making sure that we're able to come out of it safely with the candidate. Of course, Paul, I will say Paul, Amuzi or Alfred, I've never seen any election where everybody said they like the candidate.
Right.
60% will like a candidate, 55%, 70% will like it. There will be some people who definitely will not like your candidate. So at any point in time, even in both political parties, it's not everybody that will vote for a flag bearer, right? A particular flag bearer. Some people, but it is how you manage the dissent or how you manage that process that is key. So regardless, I don't care. I have my favorite who I'm going to support, but if the process kickstart and we have to go into
who are you supporting?
Oh, I'll let you know at this point. It's early.
You almost said Dr. Something.
Regardless, I don't care. I don't care who leads the MPP, right? Especially given the 2 big runners. I don't care who leads, because I think that they are all capable, they are all competent, and they can do it, right? So as for me, at the end of the day, once the party decides whoever is the candidate, I'm going to follow that candidate. I'm going to do my best to campaign for him. So I'm not too bothered, but I have my preference, of course, and it's not wrong to have my preference because of some reasons. So I will say good luck to us. We should take it cool. We should observe the COVID protocol, and we should make sure that whatever comes out there, I think that it will be, I don't know, maybe the NDC might have to learn from what we're going to do, because eventually they will also maybe one day they will have the same issue on their hand. And I don't know what the Constitution says about it, but I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to watch and follow, but Paul, I wish them all the best. I haven't followed keenly all the proposals, but I've looked at the major ones, and I think that I can see where people are coming with that. But for those that are not specific to what I just talked to you about, we should be mindful and ask ourselves if we're in opposition and that rule is in place. And if it has to do with logistics and has to do with organizing election, do we have the money? Do we have the capacity? Have we registered members? Do we have a consistent source of income that we can use to manage? So when you're expanding electoral college, be mindful about this thing, because if you want to be truthful to yourself, when we're in opposition and we're organizing this, election for electoral college after we expanded, look at the struggles that we had to go through.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. Right. So you see, you have to have this fine balance. If you don't have a consistent source of financing your party and you're going to rely on just a few financiers and you're going to make rules like this, start asking yourself, if the time comes, where are you going to get the money to? execute all these constitutional provisions that might require an extended electoral college. So there need to be a balance until we have the consistent means of financing our political power without relying on anybody. And even in opposition, we can handle that. We should not be thinking too much about expanding. I know Ato likes for all the electors to go and vote. Ideally, I would prefer that. But that has to be balanced against the resource constraint too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is for me the big issue that I have here. And similar to the NDC, when you're in opposition, raising funds is not easy.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
So it goes both ways. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for joining today and helping us break down some of these issues. Ato, I'm going to ask you the same question. Who's your favorite candidate for the MPP flag bearership? And also, COVID vaccine. Are there side effects to that? If there are side effects, because it seems nobody talks about that a lot. All we talked about is, the immunity is able to provide you. We know people are taking the booster, people are taking the booster to the booster, etc. Is there anything we should be worried about?
I mean, Alfred, in regards to the vaccines, I mean, if you're crossing the road, there's a risk. There's a risk just by crossing the road.
Right. What is the downside to that?
Yeah, I mean, you get hit by a car, but how many times does that happen? I mean, if you study pharmacology, you know that every medication has side effects.
Mm-hmm.
But then you only worry about the benefits and the risk.
Right.
And in this case, the benefits outweighs the risk.
But it didn't. I've not had a single side effect been discussed.
They've discussed the side effects. Soreness on the side, having a fever after the shots.
I mean, those are. And there's some long-term side effects of getting the vaccine itself.
I mean, the research has not really come out with long-term side effects as getting vaccines. So, if I can explain, what the Pfizer and Moderna did was they took the spike of the coronavirus. You see, it has some spikes. They took that and they made that into a vaccine, like spike protein into the vaccines. So what it does is it goes in your system, and then your body is supposed to come up with antibodies with those spikes. So say if you get the virus comes with the spikes. Your antibodies would attack it. So it's a very simple process of doing this. Although it's complicated, it's the understanding is very simple. You take the spike, not just the entire thing. So
some of the ladies complain that their men have since the vaccination not been functioning the way they were prior to the vaccination. So
I think it's psychological. I've not had any.
All right.
if you get a COVID, you may have some business, but honestly, I have no experience.
You don't have that experience, okay?
So and it's not documented anywhere, so I don't think it has anything. And in regards to the MPP, I'm really torn between Bawumia and Alan. I mean, but I would want to see Bawumia face NDC candidates because it appears anytime he speaks, it's like the NDC shift. They have COVID symptoms all of a sudden.
Right.
No pun intended.
So you can see that the NDC, the MPPs, you don't see Alan engage as much, right? Maybe
You're
because, right. You don't see him engage as much.
Alan is a tough candidate. He's on the
but Bawumia has a platform. But he has a platform.
What I see is that when it comes to like independent voters, right? Like people who are not MPP, right? Who are not typically MPP or who are sympathizers of MPP.
They gravitate towards Alan.
They will gravitate towards Bawumia.
Why?
Because, like I'm saying, because of the plan, because Bawumia appeals beyond just the MPP, right? He appeals a little bit more beyond the traditional MPP folks. So they gravitate towards Bawumia. But when it comes to like a typical like MPP, right? They will gravitate towards
Alan.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, because you hold Alan in equivalence to the current president because Alan had mounted a challenge against him in the past. So Baumia is like a newcomer, and there's that seniority in our politics. People really...
Yes, but the problem is that the timing and context, that's what people sometimes forget. In politics, there's timing and season, right? And there's context. And depending on the season and the timing and what is happening, it will change the dynamics, right? But that Alan base, you can't discount it. At least that 30, even if he had 40% before and they've reduced, at least he can be guaranteed 30% going, right? We don't know the Baumia base yet. All we know is
Daniel, don't give filler too much.
My only fear is that Alfred, my only fear is that some people would say it's either Alan or bust. It would be like that Benny syndrome. It's Benny. Yes, they may not vote just because Alan lost. So that's my only fear in that regard. But in this, I mean, being an academician, I would go for Baumia because, like I said, time and the season. Season. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. That is the show. Is that your final word, or you have?
Yes, that's my final word.
That's the final word. All right.
Let me thank you so much for this opportunity, and I think that we have the kind of quality discussion that we have across the divide. And let me thank, my NEC friends and Ato and Kakape for giving me the opportunity to be here. And hopefully next year we'll have a lot to discuss. I think that whatever we all do, everybody makes time to come here. It means that everybody means well for their country, right?
Right.
So, that is the good thing about it. So I'll say Happy New Year and Merry Christmas in advance. Let's hope that we overcome COVID. In 2022, and don't have to deal with this stress and another virus mutating itself and having another name. I don't know how. Let me ask you, how did they get the names? Omicron. Who determined
I don't know who is this.
Just like when there's a tornado, there will be names. I don't know how they come out with those names.
So those are the Greek alphabet with the tornado and stuff like that. They have names already set up for those.
Right.
They have names already for the next tornado or the next hurricane.
I think there's the last one they said is going to be Z or whatever, which will be uncontrollable or whatever. We will not be able to control
their names, Greek alphabets. So
okay.
It follows the one after the other. Alpha, Delta,
Omega. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I heard the last one will be Omega. I'm sorry, not Z. Omega. Alpha and Omega. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. It's been great. We've been on for at least 3 hours, 26 minutes. On every Saturday at 2 p.m., the Ghana Agenda is on, and I bring nothing but the best guests to come and deliberate the issues that we table for discussion. Today's been fun. We talked about so many interesting things, the last piece of which is the vaccine. But we discussed the way forward for the budgets, and we also kind of briefly talked about the COVID vaccine mandates that is likely to be announced by the president or be already announced by the president, but likely to be released in an executive instrument. And right now, as we know, it's people returning from overseas. Ghanaians may get the jab at the port if they are not already vaccinated. Anyway, that's been the Ghana Agenda for this Saturday, December 18th, and it's going to be our last for the year. Please share the link so that others who could benefit from the program can join. On that note, we'll be back on January 8th. And if nothing significant happened between now and then we will just be looking forward to do the year in review. But depending on, we know our country is a fast news moving country, or we have a lot of things cropping up as fast as you can guess them. So hopefully there will be things that we'll talk about in addition to the year in review on the 8th. Please make that date, and we'll be happy to join and bring you some good show. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu. Thanks for watching today. We'll be back again on the 8th. In the meantime, if you haven't already done so, share the link. Go back and catch our shows. We have a lot of shows that we've done this year. It's been a great year. We are grateful for all the times that you've made to join us, both our panelists who keep coming every week and delivering good messages from their political parties and canvassing their points, and for all the viewers who's been part of this journey. We really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu. We will see you January 8th. Good night. Bye-bye.